Hello, I'm Joshua of Milestone Play, and this is going to be one of the biggest games I have ever run. This Turning of the Ages event is an upheaval of the Malpos world space, where a majority of my online campaigns are run. With it, this story is going to be the changing of ages and introduce the world to entire new genres. Characters, players from those previous campaigns over the past 3 years are going to help me decide where this world space goes to. This video is going to be the story that takes place throughout that, multiple games. 2 entire different games are brought together in this video. The games are going through with our crossover Codex system, a system designed around the player's choices and narrative mattering much more than the random chance of a die roll. This is not going to be decided by dice. This is going to be decided by those players that have played in these campaigns in the past. If you want to see the complete videos of all of the mechanics, those are going to be unlisted but linked below. That way you can see how everything played out turn for turn. We will not be excluding anything that is pertinent to the story, though conversations of meta topics such as over-the-table conversations, I have this many powers left, I have that many rules discussions and the like, will be cut out for time. We'll be focusing just on the story, but all of that material will be found below. The only thing edited out of those videos below is going to be possible misunderstandings of very basic things, or whenever a player has a problem that has been edited out for their courtesy. But yeah, this is going to change the entire world space, so let's let the story begin. Our story begins in Phaloxal, one of the major port towns upon the storm-broken lands, one of the continents of Malpos. At its center lies the Chroniker, the mage tower of the Dominus Porta. The Dominus Porta, one of the few archmages left in the world, a master of conjuration magic, and over the past couple of decades, beginning to see the turning of an age. Every 500, every 1,000 years within the world of Malpos, something happens. Whether it's the stars aligning, powers gathering, councils of gods, many different things happen. But within those minor and major ages of the 500 and 1,000 years, there is a turning. There is something that happens. And over the past couple ages, the power of man, of folk, has grown. The influence of gods has decreased. And the Dominus Porta, whether in the protection of this world or in his own arrogance, sees it as his duty to reign in the new age. Over the past decade, many travesties have almost occurred within the storm-broken lands. Elder evils, that which desires, gresn'ilknus, the elemental profaned chaos, the pallid monarch, the caged morbidity of Xanax-Saroon. All of these elder evils beginning to grow, to push, to attempt to put their will into the world, all within a very small time frame. The Dominus Porta, Atrigor, has brought it upon himself to gather together armies, sages, arcanists, and heroes in an attempt to eternally prevent the elder evils from taking over the prime material. Now is the time for his operation to come to a culmination. The Chroniker, the wizard's tower within Phaloxal, the main tower itself standing tall, but this small sub-tower on its side that the populace has seen rotate around and around over time, repositioning itself when needed to act as a beacon point for greater conjuration magics, producing great portals between sections of the plane at very little effort to the Dominus Porta himself. As this time comes, he begins to gather those that would serve him. An army lays in wait elsewhere, but for now, he gathers together heroes that have pledged their allegiance to his cause. The first of which, currently operating in his own study, attempting to facilitate the Dominus Porta to bring about this turning of ages in a safe manner, is Celeste. Celeste, would you care to give a brief description of your character for everybody?
Celeste is a light blue-skinned, cloudy-haired, air genasi wizard. Trouble past, and she is sort of frantically in her purple robes and various spell books and such, just trying to make sure everything's going smoothly for Mr. Porta here. Yes, I think she's organizing a bunch of teleportation circles or whatnot, and such.
Celeste's greater purpose of this endeavor is of protection. Not abjuration magic, but protecting the world and people itself, as the Dominus Porta's plan, removing the prime material from the center of the cosmos, and rather bringing the cosmos all into one space, no longer fighting for a balance point, but coexisting. However, bringing 16 planes, the outer planes, crashing inwards, bringing the inner planes with them into a single astral space. That is dangerous, and there could be casualties, and so he has gathered you. However, you're not the only wizard that has been brought to bear. Entering into the room within these preparations is another wizard. Norin, would you like to give a description of your character for everybody?
Norin is a cheeky little guy. He is a budding master of abjuration magic and is very interested in developing safe and well-protected connections across planes, allowing them to be studied further and for resources and ideas and thoughts to be shared and collected.
With that, as you lot finish your preparations within Atrigor's tower, Atrigor sweeps into the room, the bearded, elderly wizard that he is, hyper-confident to the point of arrogance, informs you that the time has come, and with an incantation and a swirling of his arms outward, you feel the entire tower rock, and then a splintering, a shattering of the top section of the tower from the base, as you all feel that familiar teleportation suction. As he teleports the entire top half of his tower across the storm-broken lands and into the sunken Keshaw. It rockets into an ancient ruin of a temple. The sunken Keshaw being a nexus of powerful ley lines throughout this world. At one point, a single island, since sunk through the machinations of many a cult and followership wishing to use their problems for ill, the Dominus Porta is dropping his tower inside Nelbora, a temple of gates to other planes. And as it centers itself, the first phase of this plan to bring the powers of the Dominus Porta to a place of planar magic within the sunken Keshaw. You lot exit out the tower into the temple beneath, wherein an army lays at wait. Dozens of arcanists, dozens of warriors, many that would happily or passively give their lives for the cause, because they're not necessarily giving their lives for the cause. We bring in a fourth wizard to this endeavor. Millie, would you like to give a description to your character for everyone?
Millie is a rock gnome, archaeologist slash wizard slash treasure hunter, and tomb raider. Wearing slacks, a button shirt, a casual vest, and a satchel at his side, dusty and dirty and kind of worn all over. He is closely accompanied by two taller figures wearing black cloth outfits and capes with no skin showing, and wearing ornate stone masks. And they are well armed.
Fantastic. As you come out from the hordes of people with your bodyguards, the Dominus Porta looks over the army of realized soldiers. The combination of stone magic, essentially making a terracotta army to be true polymorphed over years for this endeavor. The Dominus Porta then looks over towards a warrior not among the rank and file, a leader of warriors, a leader of knights. Sigismund, would you like to describe your character?
So, Sigismund is a human male. I suppose a big difference for his friends. He'll now have a very well-kept beard and slicked back hair, wearing ornate plate armor, and the breastplates in sort of the shape of a wolf's head. And he has a long sword on one side and sort of a whip on the other side. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Is it that whip still?
Yeah.
Nice.
As you come out from the rank and file as well, having done your last instructions of passing on your knowledge and tactics to this army of soldiers, the Dominus Porta looks over the entire crew that has been assembled. He looks to Millie. You have decided where you will be sending your units.
Yeah, so long as the plan was approved.
It seems that whether or not the plan is approved, the time has come. Where will you be sending your armies?
They will be heading to Arborea, the Abyss, and the Nine Hells.
Good. That is going to take out 4 points of a square across the plains. And with that, as he says that, there is going to be this glimmering and shimmering of breaking through the planes of existence, this spectral hawk of starlight. And as it kind of sweeps down to meet with the rest of your crew, it unfolds into a humanoid form. Jorg, would you like to describe your character to the group?
Yes, Jorg is a tall, blonde humanoid, long hair tied back. He has tan trousers, nice black pair of boots, a rather nice yet worn overcoat, and belt slung over his chest with a satchel on his side, and yeah.
Okay.
Give you guys a quick bow.
And as you give that quick bow to everyone, the Dominus Porta immediately engages you. I take your coming means that you've gotten Celestia on our side, and you have delivered the cubic gate.
Yes, correct. Seluna has decided to help your cause, decided it's quite worthy, and she sent me here as her emissary to assist you in this.
Wonderful. In that case, he pulls from his robes a series of these fist-sized metal cubes with discs on them. He hands out a few of them to kind of the leaders of the different regiments of the army that you have established. And then he gives another greater selection to all of you. You can see that upon this cube, the top side of it is emblazoned with an independent plane of the outer planes. The bottom side of it has the symbol for the prime material, and then surrounding the 4 panels of like a ring around it is going to be all the same symbol of the Outlands. With that, we will send the armies out now to maintain balance. If Selune is going with the goodly gods that work with us, they will be claiming that trellis, that point that solidifies Mount Celestia as one of the outer planes immediately. With that, he raises his hands, and as he does so, giant blasts of light begin to gather the different regiments of the army, sending them off to their predetermined destinations that Millie has discussed. As they go off, seeking their own quarries to maintain the balance, claiming the central metaphysical trellises, the anchor points, the keystones of each of those planes. The Dominus Porta then looks at all of you. You have time as the great wheel will not be unbalanced until you start to act in your own sections. You have the remaining outer planes. Choose the order in which you wish to go there. Discuss among you. When you get to the trellis of each plane, activate the cubic gate at that location. It will bring you back to me, where I can send you to the next destination. Once all 16 outer planes have been claimed, we will be gathering within the Outlands themselves the concordant opposition. He then kind of steps back for all of you. You have a selection of outer planes that you all need to take care of, but it is up to you to decide which order to begin in.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Porta. Yes, this is the grave matter to discuss then. It is of my opinion that we should end with Carcerai, due to the nature of the plane itself, to keep prisoner those who make their way in. If we leave it for last, then at the very least we can guarantee that the planes are balanced at the very least. And then we'd have to work on an escape plan. Perhaps we should start with the more chaotic planes and then head towards the lawful good and leave Carcerai for last, of course, as I suggested.
I choose chaos.
Pandemonium? Blow out our ears first.
If you're going to start in Pandemonium, I believe there's one more individual that I need to bring into this. This individual has already fought their battles and is seeking a peaceful life, though I am afraid that is not something that might be possible. With that, he swings his hand wide, forming another portal, and as it opens up, you get the scent of herbs and incense and a cool breeze as the portal is opened up to an herbalist's hut, and he looks in. Elder Healer, I did not wish to disturb you, but we need your assistance and guidance.
Yeah, as the portal opens, you see a person draped in not necessarily armor, but different types of furs and some armor made of wood. He has puffy white hair that is held by little tiny beads into different lengths, and from his forehead there are two big horns protruding that are adorned with many different, like, golden and wooden trinkets. He turns around, and Sigismund and Celeste, you see he has now a dense but short white beard as well. And he says, it's time for that. Wait a second. And he goes to a far end of the room, grabs a huge satchel that is well kept, and he drops everything he's doing, steps through the portal. I thought it would be now sometime. So where are we going? And he's going to embrace Sigismund and Celeste, since we haven't seen each other for such a long time.
Yes.
And we're gonna turn to the rest of the room. The name's Buck. Who are you guys? I assume we make introductions.
As you make your introductions, the Dominus Porta eventually gets back to answering your question of, it seems the first location shall be Pandemonium, a great series of cavernous tunnels, shrieking with wind and echoes. It can take forever to get your way through, and you can go mad by the time you get to anywhere you even possibly intended. If we are to make any solid time with the rest of this plan, I will need you to guide them swiftly towards the trellis. I can get you in the vicinity, as with all of these trellises, but with the amount of barren rock that is everywhere, being within a mile of the trellis could still mean 24 miles, twisting and winding through maddening chaos to get there.
Consider it done.
The Dominus Porta looks across the rest of the group. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed before we begin this?
Do we have any update on opposition?
Within Pandemonium, the only opposition is likely to be those maddened there. If you can find the trellis, those there will not know what it is, though it being a source of power, they will want to protect it.
Deal with the trellises.
With that, you lot having your cubic gates, each one designed for a different plane, the Dominus Porta opens yet another portal, as is his role here, facilitating the entire operation. And with that, you lot step through, not into the light, cool breeze and incense of the Timberbank Healer's Hut, but instead into the dark, screaming caves of Pandemonium. Upon sending the heroes through the portal to Pandemonium, the Dominus Porta pulled from his robes an amethyst shard, the last remaining piece of the Shade Crystal, a lesser idol that was the combination of the great spirit of Miskethema, an ancient amethyst dragon, and the holding vessel of its caged morbidity, Xanax-Saroon, an elder evil of ultimate perversion and contortion. Upon ridding the world of its influence, that caged morbidity, the Shade Crystal and Miskethema dying, her heroes managed to locate the Dominus Porta with this last shard to save. And the Dominus Porta did save Miskethema, if only for his own goals. Now, conjuring forth that spirit, he spoke to her. You too have a role to play. While my men go throughout most of the planes, trying to balance as they take them out, you will take the extremes to nullify them. The greatest good, greatest evil, law and chaos. I need you to deal with the trellises of the blessed fields of Elysium, the clockwork nirvana of Mechanus, the ever-changing chaos of Limbo, and the grey wastes of Hades. Go now and serve, and earn your freedom. Upon saying so, that spirit of the amethyst dragon, Miskethema, whisked off through the different layers of Nelbora, finding the portal gates to whisk quickly between location and location, seeking to do as bid to save the world. With that, we now turn our attention back to Pandemonium and that windswept depths that the heroes have gone off to seek that trellis. Millie, you landing in this landing zone, you can see that despite having the knowledge of the trellis chamber far ahead, there is a screaming wind tornado cavern of just constant billowing energy, and you see flying through it hordes and hordes of mephits. There are 24 mephit minions within the screaming wind tornado. What would you like to do, Millie?
Alright. Let's leave that for later. I will use my movement, and let's just kind of start exploring. Use my movement and go up to Harrow Hovels.
Okay. As you enter into the Harrow Hovels, there's many different alcoves that are filled with these small, slightly pig-faced, gorilla-like dretch demons. All of them trying to get out of the wind, all trying to stay in their hovels. However, any great disturbance to their region might provoke them. So you can either use a narrative ability to stop them from being bothered, or you may use any other special ability on your turn, or move again.
I am going to play it safe. Use my narrative ability. It's dark in here?
It is dark in here, yes.
Alright, I am out of everybody's sight already. Going to put on my Ring of Reduction and crawl up inside one of my minions to reduce our overall foot traffic by 50%, and they're also darker colored to kind of be a bit swifter.
Okay, so as you begin to lead your way into the Harrow Hovels, giving your companions an idea of what is in that region, the Dretch hordes, or any guardian they have, has not yet been disturbed. We will continue on to Buck.
So first of all, with everything unfolding in front of us, Buck will take the pack that he has, which is a tightly wrapped object, and he's gonna grab one end and unroll it. And what emerges from the unrolling of it in the air is a ornate bow with different notches on it. It looks kind of weird, and he grabs it from the air. I think I'm gonna need this one again. And the blue thing that it was wrapped in, he will throw around his neck as a scarf. And Buck will lither over here, and my narrative ability will be that, I mean, I assume I'm gonna try to be quiet, but still fast, but depending on what happens, I might change what narration is happening. So
Perfectly
I'm going
fine.
to the Flying River.
Okay, the Flying River is quite literally a river of water just pumping through the center of this cavern. As you guys walk around, the gravity pulls you to the outside of whatever tunnel you're in, so you could theoretically walk in a circle around the caverns of Pandemonium, and with that, the rivers, as opposed to necessarily going against one wall, are kind of groups stuck between all walls with their cohesion, and it just flies through the center. So with this, you may either go carefully, or if you want, the Flying River will actually, if you allow it to take you, it will pump you into the echoes of insanity.
I mean, sure thing. I could use my narrative ability then to not trigger Echoes of Insanity, because I'm not using anything here, right?
You could, yes.
Okay, yeah, then Buck will go there. His eyes will widen, but still look incredibly bored. He says, "Oh, that's convenient," and he just dashes off one wall right into the river, streamlining his body to be pumped into the next area.
Okay. Upon doing so, getting pumped into the next area, all of the different chambers that are connected by these little thoroughfares between provide these independent echo chambers that, if the screaming of the winds and the splitting of the river was bad before, it is really bad now. It is almost overbearing as you come in here. So you saved your action to be able to prevent the Echoes of Insanity from affecting you. How do you prevent that?
Well, Buck has long hair. He's just gonna put some of his puffy white hair in his ears.
You shoot like wool hair?
Yes, exactly. My wool hair, which is incredibly dense.
As you splash into the river, kind of enter into the Echoes of Insanity, the Shadow Lord, who is drawn to the power of the trellis, but doesn't have any sense of what it actually is about, now feels this life force as he is going to drift with his movement over into the Echoes of Insanity. And as he does so, the temperature in here drops and it chills and chills. And as he kind of enters, it's like a Dementor entering into the area as he begins to suck the life force from you. This champion is going to attack you for 2 damage. And with that is the champion Shadow Lord's turn, as he's coming to feed on the life of someone that will actually react to him.
This is colder than Twilight Stew. Ugh.
With that, we go on to Norin.
All right. Norin fully believes that he's here to represent the front line and step headfirst into the enemy. So he's going to move up into the Screaming Wind Tornado. As he moves into that area, he will cast Fly on himself so that he can be not tossed about on the ground, but tossed about in the air.
So you are using your narrative ability to not be affected by the Screaming Wind Tornado, which means that we're good to move on to our next individual, which is going to be Sigismund. It seems that our party is split 3 ways, trying to clear out any dangers. That way, when you regroup at the trellis, you can take care of it without having any enemies also brought back with you.
I believe Sigismund would probably try to follow, but into the Flying River.
Moving off towards the Flying River region, you then follow him, jumping in and getting whisked your way up to the Echoes of Insanity. There, you have the choice to either deal with the Echoes or save your action to combat the Shadow Lord.
There's not a lot going on in Sigismund's head, so I will save my action.
Okay. As you whisk in here, you feel the temperature, you see kind of the draining of life from Buck, and then you hear just this multitude of the shrieks and the sorrows of people probably long dead, their echoes just remaining. And with that, as you come in, you're immediately going to be kind of knocked off kilter. Your strategy, your tactics are going to be knocked down, and because you have not used your action, you're going to take 1 psychic damage, so you're going to take 1 point of damage for entering this area, but then you can do whatever you wish with the Shadow Lord.
I'd just like to, if I see him attacking Buck, I'd just like to attack and just sort of gauge where I'm, use my hero. At this point, Sigismund will unsheath Briar's Bane. He'll just sort of dance around and sort of pirouette around, trying to basically size up his enemy.
And with those nicks going out, drawing Briar's Bane, this one-handed sword that is kind of the shadow of Yorn Buck's past as you fight the shadow before you, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Celeste.
As much as Celeste wants to help Buck and Sigismund, I think she would go try to help deal with the Screaming Methods tornado area. And I think she's going to not use her action narrative ability to stop the effect of the chamber.
Okay. So as you kind of lift yourself into the Screaming Wind Tornado, using your Air Genasi powers, trying to stabilize you a little bit, but not putting any concerted effort into it, you do get tossed and turned a bit. And the next special ability you use is considered one less.
In that case, I'll just move again to the trellis chamber.
Okay.
But I'm not going to deal with the trellis.
Not using the special ability on the trellis chamber. As you enter in, the trellis kind of feels you bringing those cubic gates near, and it's like beginning to interact. It surges, and with that, all current enemies on the field will move one region closer to the trellis chamber. In this case, entering the trellis chamber.
Very typical of Celeste. Very typical to just mess with the enemies like this. All right. That's all I can do.
Yeah, so with that, they go to do stuff and then they get surged back. Going on to the minions, the Mephits. There are 24 Mephits. These Mephits are going to... They're going to split. 8 are going to stay in here with you. 8 are going to go back with Norin, and 8 are going to go in with Buck and Sigismund. And then they are each going to attack who's in the chamber. So, Celeste, you are attacked by 8 Mephits. That is 1 damage per Mephit. Any defense ability you have can be used for grouping all of those together as they are attacking as a horde. So do you have any defense self abilities?
No.
You get utterly swarmed by these Mephits of frost and flame and dust and soot and salt. Just
Typical.
Both Buck and Sigismund, there are 8 Mephits in there, so they're going to split 4 and 4 with that as they come shrieking in, flying back, forth, through the echoes of insanity, through the darkness, biting and nipping and spitting salt and flaring steam. You each take 4 points of damage. And then we go to Norin. Norin, who is flying in the Screaming Wind Tornado. There are 8 attacking you for what would be a total of 8 damage. Do you have any defensive self abilities?
I do. I have a very potent, at this point, my Abjuration Ward has built up to quite a very high tolerance of damage. So I will be using my defense self as a power level 4.
As they're shrieking and moving about and getting pulled towards the trellis and then like, no, I want to eat that. No, I want to eat that. We'll finish up the first round with Jorg.
Wow. Well, okay. I'm going to walk into the room here with Nora. I think I'm just going to resist the room for this turn.
Okay. Getting in there as you use your Storm Tempest sorcery abilities to kind of control the ebbs and flows around you. So with that, we're going to go to Sigismund.
Okay, I'll try my best to deal with these Mephits, and I will take the whip off my other side. And what language was it? Was it deep speech to activate?
Yes. The Turtle Axe tendril being an acid whip appendage part of a deep fell creature. That is deep speech.
Then I will utter the words in deep speech and activate the tendril, and I will use my power level 4 attack group. I will start to flail the whip around and turn into a tornado of death and just melt through them.
Fantastic, as they attempt to fly by, the whip snapping back and forth, and not so much doing the snaps, but just the acid that it gives off just vaporizing in the air and just kind of melting them. And with that is your action. You can still move to the to another chamber if you wish.
I will go into the chamber to see if I can divert some attacks from Celeste.
Fantastic. With that, as you enter the trellis chamber once more, it's sensing more cubic gates. That is going to pull the minions in with Norn and Jorg back up into the trellis chamber. With that, we go on to Millie. Millie, you've gone off into some tunnels by yourself. Always a smart thing to do in Pandemonium. What's going on?
I'm whispering inside my skeletal cage because I can't talk to them. I can't talk to myself because I'm trying to be quiet. And at this point, I think, oh dear goodness, I've put myself in a position. Keep on going forward, I guess, at this point. I will move on up into the twisting caverns. What am I faced with?
You're faced with twisting maze-like caverns. If you attempt to move through in a single turn, you guys would be taking plot damage as you will get yourself lost for a little bit.
Okay, so I'm going to pump up some magic, hop out of my guy, and split up, and also throw an arcane eye out and navigate.
We are going to go to Jorg.
Okay. Just watched my potential attackers get sucked into another room. Let's head forward. Let's float on into the next room and see what we can do, shall we?
Okay.
I'm going to say a couple words, do a hand gesture, and throw a level 2 fireball group attack at these guys.
Okay, so with that level 2 gets doubled up to 4 minions, and so we'll go ahead and bring that down to 4. There's a total of 12 left. We do go to the Mephits, and with 12 Mephits in this chamber and 3 enemies, do they want to go all, or Norn's still back there, Millie is in the twisting caverns and not likely to get out soon. Everyone is within one region. We're gonna split them up.
So can I use a reactive ability to take initiative and take my action before
before the
they can
Mephits?
attack me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I will do that, and I will do that. I will instinctively Misty Step my way into the room, doing that very quickly as the action formerly known as bonus. And I will, as I'm hopping into the room, I'm going to grab a fistful of gravel just off of the ground and launch it into the air as it starts to swirl, and then it separates and it will attack 4 of the Mephits in a cluster with a level 2 power. Animate objects attacking a group.
Okay, with that, actually, with the reactive, the level 1 power, you get to add that 1 to the next thing. So your power 2 attack group goes to a power 3 attack group, and then when you double that, that doubles up to 6. So you can take out 6 of them.
Excellent.
Nice.
So, thip, and then just dust flying everywhere. And steam.
So that was a very good reactive, like, oh no, we want to go before that. So now we have 6. I have to redo math. It's just going to split 3 and 3 again. Actually, it's not even going to split 3 and 3. And the reason for that is there's 4 people in this chamber, so we're just going to put that back to 4 like it was, and then we're going to put 1 in with Millie, and then we're going to put 1 in with Buck.
Oh, no.
So that is going to be 1 attack on Buck. Buck, how are you doing?
I am at 3 HP.
Okay, so you're definitely taking some injuries now.
I'm injured.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them. There's going to be 1 going on over to Millie into the twisting cave. Millie, how you looking?
Annoyed.
And then we have 4 remaining in the trellis chamber, and that's just going to be 1 attack each. 1 damage to each of you. Do we go on from the Mephits back to Norin?
Oh man, it looks like I missed one. I guess I'm gonna shoot out a magic missile into the little Mephit horde to try to pick off a couple more. This is gonna be a basic attack, power level 1.
Okay, so that's going to take us down to 3 Mephits remaining in the main chamber. Moving on to Celeste.
Use my level 4 down to 3 to attack solo Blade of Disaster on the champion.
Ooh.
So that's 6, only 6 damage,
Okay.
which I think will leave it on 1 HP.
You're incorrect. That is going to slay it. How do you want to slay it?
Oh yeah, Celeste is horribly bloodied, like prone on the ground. Yeah, great run for the first, and I didn't want to use it this early, but I have no choice. Might as well use it before I die, and I will slice it in half.
Blade of Disaster just peeling through the shadow creature. Who cares if it's mostly shadow and negative energy and all this stuff? Blade of Disaster. We finish up with Buck.
I mean, what's there to do? I will, as this creature that I think everything's gone. Buck wants to take a breath, but this one creature comes back in, start hitting his head, and he just flashes a dagger and cuts it clean through in the air, dashes the dagger, and do I want to enter this chamber? Because then this one will return. I think not. Buck will stay here. He's gonna watch through this crevice.
And as you do so, we go back to Celeste. We're getting a lot of quick double ups.
Yes, I think I will attack it with a firebolt to narrow attack 0.
Okay, and get that down to 2. With that, as we're picking them off, a handful of Mephits, 3 of them still harrying. For most of you, this is your first time doing big planar travel, and Pandemonium was a heavy and hard start.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Buck, despite kind of like holding it back and looking and then seeing someone get zapped, like, your opportunity to act is now as I continue to double us back up.
Alright. How many Mephits are here? 2, right?
2 in the trellis chamber, and then if you were to enter, not doing anything to quell them, the one with Millie would come back.
Buck will enter this chamber. Not do anything to quell them, as you say. And here we'll see Celeste in a state of unsatisfactory health. Buck will dash over to her in a flash. I'll tell you know what's happening now. And I will show her the tiny golden needle that I will take from one of the beads in my hair. And I will pierce it into your sternum, and you will regain precisely 8 hit points.
8?
It's a solo ability. It heals twice, right?
Solo
So
heals
sorry for
are
making you use
2x.
this.
2x,
Yep.
and it's a level 4 ability, so you heal 8. 8 is what you were missing, right?
Yes.
Nice.
And then damage, yes. I
Alright.
do. Thank you, Buck.
Don't mention it.
Okay.
Don't get hit again.
Moving on to Millie, being harried in the darkness, and then, despite all the tactics you've used to try to find your way, the very end of the Twisting Caverns, you are actually being led back by the Mephits being drawn to the trellis chamber.
I will proceed. Come on, guys. Let's. This is. I've been hearing sound from that way for like 3 minutes now. They're in danger. We're dragging our feet. This is really cool in here, but let's go. So I will come onto the rune, kind of stomping my little gnome feet, and we're gonna get a little achievement on the bottom of the screen that pops up. Gnome wizards play with gravel in the same room. As I just use my basic attack, a sharp, pointy rock flies up without even any indication. It just I'm walking and it flies up and strikes one.
With that, we go to Sigismund.
I will also use a basic attack and try lasso one out of the air with my whip.
Easily done. And with that, that brings us to a single Mephit remaining. We have 3 draws left in the initiative deck. The chances are in your favor to act before the Mephit again. But I drew the Mephit. Okay. So with that, this is going to go ahead and we're going to target Millie. Millie, as you've come in, fresh meat relative to some of the others in here. It is going to like separate going away from Sigismund, who is lassoing one, and then kind of like backtrace the spike that you sent to do 1 damage on Millie.
How?
We're gonna end with Jorg. Jorg, how would you like to basic attack finish off the final minion?
Quick hand motion, extend my right arm, grab the wrist with the other hand, and just blast it with a ray of frost.
With all the enemies dealt with in this section of the Caves of Pandemonium, within the Trellis Chamber, you can see what appears to be almost this kind of ethereal obelisk that they've all been reacting to as you guys have come in and out and in and out. And with it, one of you certainly has the Pandemonium cubic gate with the symbol of Pandemonium on top for you guys to set at the trellis to activate. So I just
guys, who has it?
I just open
No
up
one
to you
brought
for
it.
any story.
I'm sorry.
Turns out the secret danger of the Screaming Wind Tornado is it steals the cubic gate. But with that, you activate it. It kind of locks onto this trellis, and then there's the flash of light as you guys surround it. The return portal sucking you back to Nilbora, back to the base of the top half of the Chroniker, and to the Dominus Porta, looking at you, seeing the amount of haggardness of the group with this just look of, this plan might not work after all.
Oh, it's true.
Perhaps we just started a bit heavy-handed.
I don't know. Those caves were pretty cool.
So what are our health conditions currently?
I
we
am
better
at
take-
4.
Oh, I'm at 3.
Norin is right at bloodied. At 5.
All right, nice.
Jorg is at 9.
I'm also at 9.
8.
Sigismund?
Fractured back rides again.
Yeah, looking quite fractured over here.
Very typical of us. My apologies again for I did not expect it to summon them back. That's
No,
my mistake.
Who would have thunk? Well, we're gonna get through this.
It sounds like a trellis at one of the most chaotic planes certainly played with your plans. Would you prefer to go more lawful this time, or what is your plan to follow that up?
Perhaps more dichotomous to Arcadia, the exact opposite of what we went through.
Well, if in doubt, a good friend of mine always said, let's just kill him. It was Brock.
Well, I would not suggest following that advice in Arcadia. They are known as the peaceable kingdoms of Arcadia, and with that, I bid you not to cause any problems there if you are going to go opposite Pandemonium. Within Arcadia, the trellis acts as a centerpiece for the kingdoms. Arcadia is built in order. There are cities and towns and villages. There are farms. There are rivers that run straight like rulers. Arcadia is quite lawful, though it does not seek to put that influence outside of itself. If you wish to go there next, you will need to find the trellis as a keystone. You will need to find it following the patterns of the plane itself, of the kingdoms, of the agriculture, of the terrain, the ebbs and flows. You will find it at a structural point within the plane. Are you ready to go there now?
I am. Sure.
Let's do it.
Alright.
With that, he opens once more a portal to drop you to another plane of existence. Before following our heroes to Arcadia, there's one other scene within the Sunken Keshal, within Nilbora, this starry gated locale that we need to look at. And that is the first portal that the spirit of Miskethema is to go through. Not Elysium, Mechanus, Hades, or Limbo, but another. Celestia. This gate, this portal that supposedly Jorg has already assured that gods from Celestia will be aiding them. Instead, Miskethema goes there for a different purpose. She is a being of neutrality, and she is a being seeking only one thing, to protect the world. And the Dominus Porta's plan is one of omnipotence, and not one that puts the world first. With that, in her time and preparations, she has gotten in league with another force, the Arbiters of Isolation, individuals of the Prime Material that seek the good of the Prime Material above all. They do not wish for the machinations of gods, demon princes, archdevils. Any greater outer being is not one that should have say of the world. Miskithema cherishes the world and does not want to see the mayhem that would happen even if the Dominus Porta's plan succeeds. And while she must do her part to ensure the protection of the world, there may be a different solution. One that brings about an isolation of this world from the great cosmology. For the gods and demon princes, the great avatars of law and chaos, to have their squabbles on their own and leave people to live as they are. So with this, seeking an afterlife of heroes that have strived for the good of the world, the Arbiters of Isolation will be doing their parts throughout the multiverse, but Miskithema's role now is to seek heroes that might be able to unseat their plans. Entering this first portal, she goes to find these heroes. As our three heroes find themselves awaiting the beginnings of this next, possibly final mission, the portal before them opens up, and drifting into the upper planes, you all see the spectral form of a crystal dragon. Through it, you see these purples and lavenders. Not crystal, but amethyst. The spirit of an amethyst dragon. And as she looks upon each of you, you feel this comfort. You feel this level of almost satisfaction that things are as they should be. She looks across each of you and speaks out. I am thankful that there are those upon the other side that wish to aid the Arbiters of Isolation. While they are doing everything they can upon the plane and to interfere with the greater machinations going on, the work of mortals is limited in how dire a situation we have to ask you to enter into time and time again in close repetition. With this, as she takes in each of you, Darren, would you like to describe your hero?
Darren's wearing her classical green plate armor. She's got 2 clubs with enchantments on her hips.
Looking up from Darren to the Dragonborn, Torin, would you like to describe your character?
He was originally born as a blue Dragonborn, but through the magics of the world, he underwent a metamorphosis and became an amethyst Dragonborn. And as he looks up at this crystalline dragon of amethyst, he's kind of looking at it like, Mommy!
And with that, going from looking up to looking down past Darren towards Valen. Valen, would you like to describe your character?
Yes. Valen is a small halfling. His complexion matches that of his aged brown leather jacket he has on. Even in the afterlife, he's not gotten rid of it. And he still carries around his little shepherd's staff. Seeing the dragon come in, and it's about time to go, I guess Valen will grab his very oversized pack that he used to carry around on the adventures with these guys and lug that thing back on.
As you do so, taking the weight upon your fragile knees, bones creaking, the spirit of the amethyst dragon speaks once more. Thank you for aiding in this endeavor. Going through this portal, we have assured safe passage through Nelbora, the Temple of Planar Gates that the Dominus Porta is currently using. I must be on my way to continue the work of the Outer Planes. While it aids him, it also provides cover. As you go, it is your decisions whether you should start with earth, air, fire, or water. But once you are done, there is one final endeavor that I will need your aid with, and that is the final severing of the great world serpent through the astral sea. Please, go now, act quickly, and call to me when you are ready, and I will traverse you through the great sea of stars and unto that great serpent. With that, you are allowed to enter through this portal back unto the world of the living, to Malpos, underneath the shrouded wings of Miskethema. And with that, for you to cross through the Temple of Nelbora to find the elemental planar chamber, and for you to make your decisions whether you start with earth, air, water, or fire.
Well, I'm not really sure what we should start with, but, whatever we do, I think we should do water after fire, just in case.
You know what? Yeah, I buy
Or
that.
on fire. Actually, I say let's start with earth, since it's kind of your thing, Valen.
The grow things in it. Yeah, all right. We can do that.
You all make your way towards the earthen portal. As you do so, the spirit of Miskethema having already whisked away, though you do feel still that comforting presence. There is this almost notion of thought that traces over you. The earthen trellis is difficult to find, though through the solid nature of that plane, the plane itself is its own defenses. Search fast, find it, and complete the ritual. As you step through this portal, you find yourself quickly shrouded in darkness, if not for the holy radiance that is the spiritual form of Darren, just giving off this confidence of light. To find this trellis, you have the hard-packed nature of the earthen elemental plane with the varying levels of tunnels, of wisping caverns, and soil to dig through, sand and silt. This is a full-on needle in a haystack, find that trellis.
Valen's going to take point and cautiously explore ahead. This is going to be Valen using his absolute ridiculous passive perception while he is moving forward through this, like you said, it was a thick fog, or it was very dark, right?
So it is dark, it is caverns, it is, lifting silt, drifting earth. This is the worst of spelunking and smog and forest fires all at once.
Does Torin still have pyro?
You can have a spiritual version of pyro for this adventure, yes.
Okay, well then I'm going to light it up and use that to help guide with light, that kind of a thing.
Fantastic. So with now 2 sources of light in the party, with Valen going forth, tracking the inclines and the declines as you guys move through these caverns. You find the areas where the earth becomes more packed. You find areas where you can easily, wait, this might be a dead end, but if we go exactly here, and pointing Torin in the red area, just knocking down sections of wall and burrowing through, you guys start to kind of rotate around a central space in 3-dimensional earth as you are getting rather close to where this trellis is. You just have not found it yet.
You said we're basically circling around it. Can we sense the direction we need to go?
Generally, yes, though you do need more points put into this.
Okay, well, because I was going to think if maybe I go ahead and use some sheer force and try to bust through into the direction we need to get to.
As you guys start to rotate around, as Valen continues to find the spots just easy enough to break through, but almost like a maze designed for you not to reach the center, Torin just gets fed up and goes barreling through. Valen, no, it's not that wall. Torin doesn't care and just starts hacking with pyro, this massive flaming axe, through the hardest parts of stone. Who cares? And as that crumbles away, that you have safely reached this trellis, like having onions of silt and crystal and earthen formations around it, is in the center of this cavernous pocket. How would you guys like to complete your ritual to destroy this trellis?
Valen will do what he typically does in ritual situations here. He's gonna channel some power of Yandala here. Maybe and see if she can help me through this. She's always been there for me.
Despite some gods being on the side of the Dominus Porta, Yandala, a deity of halflings, yes, but also home, hospitality, the common folk, recognizes that maybe now is the time that the gods need to let go of their children and let them grow up on their own.
He has had multiple conversations with her about this, and they have decided that the whole his god is not about her physicality being here. It's about what her message, right? The home and hearth. You don't need her for that.
So all of the layers of this trellis just break away, and with that, the connection of the elemental plane of earth to the prime material breaks as well. You lot quickly find yourselves returning through the caves back to that portal, jumping back through to the Temple of Nelbora, your first of the elemental trellises destroyed. You now have air, water, and fire.
Actually, guys, I think for our party makeup, one of the more difficult ones for us to deal with is probably going to be air. What do you say we do that next?
I was also thinking, like, we just did Earth. So, like, Earth and air are kind of opposites, so maybe that knocked air out of balance a little bit, made it a little easier. But, yeah, let's do air first.
As you approach the portal to the elemental plane of air, once more you feel that presence of Miskathema providing notions of assistance in this endeavor. She does speak out. You have found the earthen trellis, and now so diametrically opposed elemental air, though in the balance of this world, somehow similar. Where first you burrowed through nothing but absolute rock, now you shall find yourself upon the currents and the winds of nothing. You must find within the eternal sky that trellis. As you guys pop through the portal, and then just start falling.
At which point, I will grab a hold of the backs of the shirts of Valen and Darren and pop my spectral wings so I can fly. So at least we have some up, down, left, and right.
Okay. Doing so, grabbing both of your companions, your psionic wings sprouting out, not having to actually flap, but being this influence, you begin to focus through your iron will, and with this, you are granted some time of personal capability, though your concentration, like most things, will eventually grow thin. You guys are once more on a timer to find your trellis.
Valen knows that the wings Torin has don't last for very long, so I will wait until that's about up, and I will polymorph into a giant eagle and carry them.
Keeping a heavy eye outwards looking, you see other great beasts wisping through the sky. You see clouds almost dancing with each other. It is quite magnificent.
Oh, do I still have the eye?
If you have internalized that into your identity,
I would kind of think it's still there.
Okay, you have internalized that into your identity. You have your, for lack of a better term, your Millennium Eye.
In which case I will attempt to use a true sight in it.
As you focus your spiritual energy into this orichalcum eye, you start to see other layers of this reality. And you start to see almost this vortex. Following the currents of these winds, you begin to recenter yourselves. Valen carrying with you, directing over top. You do feel this internal presence of Miskathema. I have already completed half of my outer planes. Are you done yet? As you guys are not completing them as fast as she needs you to.
Now that I kind of sort of located it with the eye and the vortex that you described, I will head us that way.
Zoning in on where this is, following those trails of otherworldly energy.
None of y'all take damage. I'm going to heal you, Torin, so you can just use your eye a little more.
And with
that actually makes a little sense.
That's fantastic. So that's your power level 1?
Yep.
Okay.
Play on hands, baby.
And with that, pumping energy into Torin, allowing for us to focus on this endeavor, you lot continue to spiral in, hit a couple of the weird turns on the currents, and eventually find floating in space the trellis. This one, almost an obelisk, but it's a star design. As many directions as could be considered as pointing up are all blossoming forward as a trellis. And with that, I open it up for you guys to destroy the trellis.
As we get close enough, I'll let Valen let go of me so I can kind of jump on it and just start physically ripping it apart piece by piece.
taking off the limbs of a tree as you go from the top to the bottom. Just with that, fracturing this one as well. You then jump back upon the back of the polymorphed Valen, very much like a giant eagle. You lot wing around, get back towards that portal, and soaring through, skydiving through, you back into Nelbora. In the time it took for Valen, Darren, and Torin to complete these 2 ventures into the elemental planes, it has already been noted that Miss Gathema has been getting on with her work, and so too have the heroes of the Dominus Porta. Let's now take a moment to look into their endeavors. Arcadia, an impressionistic label. We have the ordered orchards, the straight rivers, the spaced out kingdoms, the very set fields. We have the lower layers of a bit more desolation without the cultivation. We have the great orb, like a sun and moon together, shining bright on one side, dark on the other, to find your way through the rhyme and rhythm of Arcadia. How do you guys want to go about finding your way through Arcadia? To where this spectral trellis might be.
Does anyone else want to do something before I do something?
I like knowing things, yeah. Let's go.
Buck will cross his arms and he will say, Norzim, you heard what they're asking. Do you know anything? I'll just ask him. Maybe he knows something.
Buck, hold on a sec. And I will throw up an arcane eye into the air and will activate my cautious exploration power 3 to see if it'll cover it.
Is not enough to finish this challenge.
Alright, I'll pull it down for the time being and let everybody know that it's going to be a while. We got a large horizon.
Because I have my own key, looking at the lay of the land, where would be the most strategical point to hold like the place of power.
So as you look at this, you don't necessarily see it as some place to hold it as you're reading the terrain, but you see this kind of metaphorical hill of where things are kind of branching away from and moving from this kind of like central point of like rays of the sun coming out from the center of this orderly positioning. And as you kind of take that information in and then see how other keeps are positioned around that, so as opposed to a single keep, a bunch of them.
As a way to recompense what happened in Pandemonium, Celeste has spent a lot of time with her nose in various books. I think she can quite easily make connections and patterns.
Taking the initial information that Sigismund gives you and then kind of like doing this double hologram, kind of like, okay, but what's the underlying structure and where are the nodes and where's the ley lines and kind of those things that would eventually lead the second Oneshot to fall, seeing how they overlay in this place, and then you begin to guide your companions in that way using small teleportations and dimension doors and teleports, moving your way closer and closer, getting to this central location where you guys end up. As opposed to a hill, it's a bit more of a valley that acts as like this downward metaphysical pressure on the rest of the plane where the trellis would reside.
On my shoulder, a spectral hawk will form. It'll fly ahead of us, scout, come back, and lead us to our destination.
Okay, as you guys get to the valley, that hawk going out, like as it just wings through, going around, eventually the tips of the feathers begin to glow as it's just grazing by this trellis. It kind of spins tighter and tighter as it fully begins to glow, the hawk, as it fully identifies where that trellis is for you guys to then be guided back to it, to place your cubic gate and finish your second plane.
Far cry from Pandemonium.
So much easier.
This one was rather pleasant.
You might call it a walk in the park.
And Norin looks up from his spellbook. He was organizing it and writing notes and just kind of jotting down some ideas and things that he saw. And so, I'm sorry. Are we done? Okay.
Yes.
Indeed. You did wonderfully.
I'm glad I could help. Right, let's go.
The cubic gate activated, centering its focus on this trellis, and as it releases the second part of the match, you guys get teleported back to Nelbora for what was a much easier time for the Dominus Porta. Like, okay, you have your feet under you. Now let's get moving. Let's get more done.
I think Acheron and Eastguard might be a bit more violent. Gehenna, probably a much more dour version of what we just did. Where do we have Arborea, Beastlands, Beastlands will probably contend with the native folk.
Actually, the Beastlands should be one of the easiest we have for you. It's the least protected of the trellises. The bestial petitioners of the realm have no direct use for the support, and visitors come in peace or for the happy hunting ground. That's likely one to be found quickly and moved on.
Do we do it then very quickly then?
Yeah, I would say we knock it out.
Very well.
But the Beastlands.
Beastlands it is.
Beastlands.
Off we go.
He goes ahead, teleports you guys off. The main layer of the Beastlands that you guys are going to be heading to is just this vast, wonderful wilderness of forest and jungles and exotic, flowers and blossoms and vines, and it's just, it's very wonderful. It's one of the more good. It's at the top of the good arc, pretty close to it. So with this, you have this location, and all souls that come to the Beastlands in death take the form of a beast to live out their afterlife.
I'll send out Albert to explore above the trees just to see where we might have to head. This trellis.
I'll summon my little familiar friend Avery, who's also an owl, to go along with Albert. But mainly
Albert
just to kind of like, just to follow along. They're really there more for like companionship.
You start to get like a decent idea of where to go. You see kind of once more the ebbs and flows, and you see what is going to be kind of the deeper sections of the woods and the jungles where the trellis is likely to be, as opposed to the happy hunting grounds themselves. And you start moving in that direction.
I don't think he'll do anything, but Sigismund will use his inner abilities and start sniffing the wind, pick up a scent.
Okay. Start to pick up that scent, getting attuned with the Beastlands. There is a wolf that kind of walks on by over to the side that senses your inner beast.
Going to send out the Arcane Eye again.
You guys getting a bit more leisurely in this.
Celeste is obviously very wants to please Mr. Porta. Celeste would cast Fly on all of us so that we could all move relatively quickly with haste.
Nice.
You guys kind of speed up.
Just a little levitate here and there from Celeste just to get vantage points.
And with that, you guys kind of like getting a little lazy, and then like, okay, no, we have to get moving, and like, we might be going slow, but we're going slow. Flying slow is faster than walking slow. You guys will eventually find within the jungles just this blossoming of like the anthers, the pistils of a flower that kind of rise up spiritually into this trellis than anything actually stone obelisk-like. You guys can place your cubic gate there and find yourself summoned back to Nelbora once more. And so too does it take time for the heroes of the Dominus Porta to proceed and succeed in their endeavors. So too does the plot thicken with the agents of the Arbiters of Isolation, with Darren, Valen, and Torin. Let's go back to them to see how they are doing, with two options before them. Rocketing back into Nelbora, you have two elemental planes remaining, water and fire. Earlier, you joked about how maybe it's good to do the fire before the water because, that sort of stuff. It's your choice whether you want to continue on with that logic.
I stand by it.
Fire it is.
Worst thing that happened is soothes our burns.
Miss Gathema's soothing voice coming through to guide you where you are. The general wilds of the previous planes. The elemental plane of fire is one of industry and one of grandeur, and you will get to witness one of the greatest locations that the plane of fire has to offer. With that, as you pass through, you are going to find yourselves not amid lakes of fire, but within a great promenade of an ornate city. You see golden and orange metallic buildings and roofs, great curving architecture, the glamour of gold and jacinths glittering about. I present to you the city of brass. They know the trellis, and the Grand Sultan of this city has based his palace around it, as others among the outer planes too have done. I do not wish you to go and fight. This is a place of Azes, of Efreet, of the great fire genies capable of bending reality to their will. You must convince them that our cause is a good one. And with that, as you guys approach the Grand Sultan's palace.
Okay, I think I got like the play, right? What is the Sultan? Is it like a genie, perhaps?
It is a genie. It is an Efreet.
So, I'm seeing a bit of opportunity here, a little room for negotiation. If we cut off the mortal plane, those gods are going to lose a lot of power. Because they don't have worshippers accessing them anymore. And you know who doesn't lose power? Genies. You know whose, like, place in the world would go up? I'm not saying that's the, like, diplomacy way we, like, oh, can we destroy this thing so that the gods lose their influences and genies get an overall step up in the world? But I am saying that that is a diplomacy route, if we want to go that way.
I have an idea if you think we need a couple extra little something to it.
Go on.
Use my mind speak thing.
Okay, so if you did that, added another narrative,
I'm going to take a safe route and do that.
So do that then? We doing that?
Yeah, I'm going to take that route. We're gonna play it safe.
Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Darren talking?
I think it might be good to let Valen, let me loosen everybody up with a little drink, bring a little halfling joy down here to the fire plains.
And then after that, I say F goes, and then I do a little mind speak, kind of. Do it.
There it goes.
I'm fine with it.
Is there any particular narrative you want to put on, starting this off with halfling hospitality?
Oh yeah, since Valen spent all this time up in the spirit realm, he's actually perfected that the Warden's brew, and this big backpack is a lot bigger on the inside, and I've got a couple barrels. So I'm just I've got flasks and flagons, and I'm passing them around, and let's enjoy ourselves.
Upon doing so, while this city of brass is ruled by a Efreet, certainly it's not everyone. There's the bronze-skinned, flaming, bearded-haired Azers. There's little mephits and elementals and weirds and just all these things, as you are essentially sharing a very special sheep milk alcohol that burns because it's fire, but as you do so, you're definitely getting attention to then open the floor for Darren. Darren, you've already been very vocal about what the plan is. Are you good to let it set at your rhetoric, or do you want to add anything to your rhetoric?
I'm just gonna add in the fact that no matter what happens, the times are changing. If we don't get our way, other people are getting their way in a much bigger and much more impactful way that harms them in the relative way of things. They would have a little more influence on the portal plane themselves, but other people would gain much bigger influences and kind of push them out in a whole percentage way.
Torin, with your mind speaking, anything else you want to add to that narrative?
Just speaking to their minds, saying, believe him, trust. It'll be better for you.
Turns out the Sultan does not like it when you try to mind speak. He is going to... The intention is to snap his fingers, have you burst into flames, and be teleported about 50 feet underneath the nearest lava pit. This is a consequence for not completing this with the high stakes of speaking to an Efreet Sultan. Though I think Valen might have something to say about that.
Yes, I am going to react to that. Oh God, I don't even know how to do this. I don't know what to say to smooth this over. Valen's gonna channel that same energy that he did when he was talking to that tower.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that Torn has actually kind of pulled this exact thing.
You're right, yeah.
So we do have experience dealing with this exact problem. So Valen's a little more ready for it now.
That he is. You pick up immediately with your massive passive skills. You pick up, oh, this is not the play, and you are shoving drinks into your companion's hands. You immediately break off on this giant story of things that you lot have done in the past, which is very non sequitur in the moment of trying to convince them, but it becomes this oh, no, here's our merit, here's our resume, here's our CV. This is why you should have listened to us as you are socially drowning out what Torn is doing to try to calm things for the moment.
I am describing in just painstaking detail. I'm talking beyond Tolkien level description of our descent into Vikugan. Valen doesn't really know, but this is just going to convince them to do it because they should trust us because we're really cool and Darren did a good job.
Yeah. Like, Darren made some very good cases, but you guys didn't have the oomph. But hearing everything going on, the fact that you have a mighty paladin playing performance circus monkey to Valen, there's this degree of appreciation. You lot eventually are given permission to do what you need to, as they don't care as much for the fire trellis as something to own as you wanted it. So of course they can't just give it to you. Also, it makes a wonderful chandelier as you look up to the giant dome, as the giant beacon of wrought fire is the trellis.
Hey Valen, not to toot your own horn or anything, but do you want to toot your magic horn?
I was thinking I was gonna ram it.
That also works. I was talking to like fire. I was talking without.
No, I heard chandelier and I wanted to crash it.
That works too.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my my spectral ram ring, the halfling torque, and just all 3 charges into it. Poof, poof, poof.
As it bends and contorts out of shape and popping and falling to the center of this grand ballroom to explode into nothingness. You have now severed the 3rd of the elemental trellises, leaving this room before any other social missteps of those of ultimate cosmic power. You return to the portal within the city of Brass to get back to the Temple of Nilbora. Mirroring the diplomatic actions of Valen, Torin, and Darren, so too do the agents of the Dominus Porta have to turn to words as opposed to actions to have success throughout the planes. Let's look at that now. Well, that is 3 down. Handful yet to go. Bitopia, Isgard, Kosarai, Gehenna, Acheron. Where would you have next?
Isgard.
Very well. The heroic domains of Isgard. The halls of the gods are built upon the trellis's foundation there. To fight a plane of undying warriors would not do us well. Beseech them for aid in this fight beyond any other means. He teleports you off to the wonderful fjords and valleys and halls of Isgard, wherein you will easily find your way to the Valhallan halls, wherein the trellis has been built upon, or rather the hall has been built upon the trellis itself. You guys eventually will be approaching the halls of Odin, of countless warriors, heroes of ages past. Who do you guys want to lead this beseechment?
I'll give it a go. I will step forward, the head of the pack, and I'll sort of present myself to. Is there like a head table?
Yeah, there's a head table with the one eye patch, kind of gray-haired, slightly more like shrunken forward, but heavily kind of embroidered robes of Odin. You see the giant red-haired burly Thor. Like you've got gods at the table.
Approach the table, and I'll do a very respectful bow. My lords, we have come here today in the hopes to make some very great allies, and me and my companions here believe you warrior gods to be amongst the most powerful and valuable of allies.
So as you go in, you're speaking good words, real great words, but halfway through they're just done listening. They've been having a good night. The next morning they have to get back to battle, and you're just blathering, and you just have one person at the end. Silence! Does anyone else care to speak more curtly?
What are we gonna do now? Oh yeah, go ahead.
As I step forward, the dust starts kind of falling off of me, and in a booming voice that grows, kind of start talking and then it grows. You fight and you die, and you fight and you die, but you never know death. I will show you death and the undeath beyond. And I will start transforming a little bit.
Okay.
Do something bigger and scarier, while also using a subtle cause fear. By the time I'm done with it, I am in full stone armor with my stone shield and sword.
So you have gone from little archaeologist gnome to Death Knight. The gods and warriors of Asgard appreciate those that have earned their right and stand firmly and strongly and will not waver. And as you do so, Odin, who has just been sitting back this entire time, like, yeah, everyone else is kind of done with it, but he's at least heard the words that Sigismund has said. And now that you have gotten everyone's attention, like, it quiets the ravens Hugin and Munin kind of onto the either side of his chair, giving out cause. And then Odin just slowly kind of raises a hand for everyone. This is not how it was foretold, but my eyes, as he gestures to Hugin and Munin, have seen the preparations for war across the realms. If this is not the coming of Ragnarok, I do not know what is. Prepare yourselves for battle, and a battle that may be your last. And the hall begins to rise, and the warriors are moving out. Go ahead.
Throw my sword in the air.
There is response to that. And slowly, as the war parties getting more people ready to possibly join you in the Outlands, you guys find the head table being moved and the throne of Odin being moved aside to show where the branches of Yggdrasil kind of twist up within that throne as the trellis of Isgard.
I just want to, before we leave, can Sigismund just do a once around and just see if he sees any redhead dwarves?
You do see a redheaded a mohawk kind of moving through the group. As a dwarf shorter than some of the bigger kind of like, barbarian humans and half-orcs and Goliaths and stuff. But, the mohawk that has since come back in the true spiritual self is cusping over their shoulders.
That's all I wanted.
Oh my god.
Well, then he's gonna help in the end. Anyway.
Very much so.
Nice.
With that, the cubic gate at the spiraled roots of Yggdrasil. You are attuned here. Portal launches you all back to Nelbora, and Isgard is done. We have still Bitopia, Carcerai, Gehenna, and Acheron.
Let's get the bad one. What do you think, Gehenna or Acheron? More lawful or more evil?
Are they all evil?
They're both evil, but which one? One's more lawful and one's more evil.
Maybe lawful? We can try to wheel and deal again?
Wheeling and dealing in Acheron.
Acheron it is. Now, before I send you there, this is one of the tricky ones. And I want you to measure what you do very carefully, because even if we succeed in our endeavor, there could be hostile consequences. The trellis of Acheron is currently within the citadel of an entrenched army of devils. Acheron itself is made up of giant metal cubes that act as planetoid surfaces that are warred over eternally. It is referred to as the infernal battlefields of Acheron. We do not have time to fight and gain the citadel. We don't have the manpower, not with what is coming in the Outlands. My initial research has led me to a warlord capable of taking the citadel currently. He is a devil that should have been a demon prince who in ages past came close to overtaking all of the continent of Hiskalon. We must use him and his army to take the citadel, to get to the trellis. However, do not give him leverage. He will not operate for free, and given the opportunity, he will find his way back to the prime material to overtake it again. Do you understand me?
Yes. Don't give him leverage. Don't let him.
What's his name?
His name is Mordekin.
So we have to work with him, utilize his forces to obtain our goal.
Yes.
Ooh, boy.
And he will know he has leverage when you walk up to the table. He will demand certain acquiescences. Do your best to not give in. There may be areas that you have to falter, but know that every inch you give, he will be taking a country.
Ooh, understood.
With that, the Dominus Porta does the incantation once again, and in doing so, teleports you to Acheron, to the great wastes and fields, the giant cubes of metal, riddled with rust, riddled with molten lava, holes going through them, and with this, because he knows of Mordekin, you lot are being put just outside his camp of 1,000,000 devils, a force more than capable of taking a citadel in short order that is needed. Sitting over top his entire army, you see what appears to be a man, slightly elvish in features of nose and eyes, gets a bit more human by the ears, but anything further from the face becomes fiendish. He has a dense, greasy mat of hair that just slicks up his neck to the back of his neck, where it meets a long, dark ponytail in the back. There are horns that cusp from the brow of his face, from his eyebrow up, and they form this sheet of scales, large chunks of spikes that almost form this natural helmet that goes over the top of the head, forcing the hair back into that ponytail with the beard. He's wearing crimson red armor, not crimson, scarlet dragon scale, as he is sitting at a table, bouncing one leg over the other, knowing his army is ready. He has felt the trembles of the multiverse. He is aware of the research that the Dominus Porta has done, and he is waiting to be asked to do something for a charge.
Alright. Salute, help me. Let's walk up to him.
As you do so, he kind of smiles. You see that the teeth form small fangs, though mostly remain humanoid. Well, it has been a while since I've dealt with adventurers, and it went very well for me last time. Tell me, what do you need?
We need to get into that fortress over there.
Well, that is very difficult for you. I could help, but my army's a bit big for the moment, and they're getting cramped here. They need some space to sprawl.
Well, I would have to say that's not our problem, but if you don't work with us, they're going to be cramped here for a lot longer.
And if you don't work with me, you won't get what you want, and you will quickly become cramped as more forces take over your areas. What little bit can you give me? Well, Hiskalon was the last endeavor. Are you willing to make acquiescences anyplace else? I'm open for retail. Name a place.
Perhaps the Far Realm would be a worthy challenge of your greatly cramped army.
While they're distracted, that seems like a lovely idea.
The level of dupe on this is blowing my mind.
So the level of dupe on this is very kind of like, throughout the diplomacy 10, there's going to be a lot more than just one sentence on it. There will be more iterations and, working with, what you're doing with all the other planes and kind of dealing with that, but then allowing for that area to be separate from all of this. And so gets him away from all of the gods, gets him away from all the people that would oppose him within this reality. And who knows, we may have just spawned a real big bad in like 2 or 3 ages.
Nice. I dig it.
So,
oh my god, big heavy wrong move.
Cue across the bottom of the screen, Mordekin will return. But he uses his army of 1,000,000 devils to assault this cubic citadel, breaking through the forces, breaking through the walls, getting you guys to the center of this cube, wherein there is this spike of metal that serves as the trellis of Acheron, and you guys can activate the cubic gates, and you guys did what the Dominus Porta told you to do very well. Very well.
Alright. As long as Mr. Porta's not disappointed in us, Celeste can live with that.
No, that was you did the challenge, and then when I gave the twist of I still need something to roleplay about, that was the perfect, that's not, we rolled a 20 on a die, the game master has to say, "We did the thing." That is you going, "Hey, here's an exact answer to the thing you asked for." So that is fantastic. And with that, Acheron is done. We have Gehenna, Carcerai, and Bitopia left before the Outlands.
I say Gehenna to get the evil out the way, then Bitopia to get it. Wait, then Carcerai, of course. Or we can do Bitopia, Gehenna, then Carcerai.
You sure know which of these planes are dangerous and are not?
It's a lot of reading. I just really want this to go well. Mr. Porta, if it doesn't go well, obviously it's the destruction of everything I know and love. So I think it pays. Promotion. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier, Gehenna and then Bitopia and then Carcerai, probably a good arrangement.
With that, once again giving a little bit of information on your task, he dictates out what you said earlier about possibly Gehenna being a more nefarious version of what Arcadia was like is not a joke. The terrain of Gehenna is as potent as a foe, and you will not want to spend long there, but you will at least have a few moments to find it. Gehenna is made up of 4 mountains, not exactly mountains, but gravity is at a 45-degree angle from the ground, so every surface seems to be a mountain. There's molten rock and toxic snow, to say the least. There are more deadly dangers beyond. The river Styx is a waterfall that flows from it. Find your way through, find the trellis, and do not be there long. Your weary states will rot away through the toxins, through the heat and the decay. He sends you to Gehenna, and you guys have to find the trellis amid what is not a walk in a park, but walk, 45-degree angle, mountain, acid, snow, lava, but still, just go find it.
That's truly wonderful.
I figure this is going to be a deception quest, but exploration's fine. I will open up my bag and a handful of spirits will pour out and start floating off into the distance looking for our goal.
I will.
That is going to solve it. So, as you just open your bag, spirits pouring out, they just go like, okay, not this mountain, not this mountain, not this mountain. You guys get yourself to the proper mountain, delving through the caves, avoiding the areas that are just toxic pits of gas. Move your way through the volcanic compounds until eventually you find another stone obelisk once again, that as you get close kind of just turns spectral. You can put the cubic gate there, and bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Perfect. That's how this game works.
Thank goodness.
Gehenna is done, and you guys have Bitopia and Carcerai.
Bitopia, let's
on to
go.
Bitopia.
Hopefully you complete this just as fast as you completed Gehenna. It should be no more difficult. Once more, find the trellis. Bitopia itself is known as the Twin Paradises. That is because it is twin paradises. There is a single plane on one end that is pure wilderness, untouched, unspoiled. Opposite it, over it, is that of civilization. Villages, farms, communities, nothing great and sprawling of nations, but simply the splendor of a simple life of an afterlife. If you get halfway between them, gravity will shift. It is my belief that the trellis resides halfway between them, halfway through your power, halfway between many things. Split Bitopia, find the spectral, ethereal trellis that serves as that pivot point between the low and the high and the low, the left and the right and the left, and get back to me.
So in this case, if everyone's out of options, this time Buck will do the thing. He will close his eyes and start talking to himself. Northam, we're in... Guys, what's this place called?
Bitopia.
Bitopia? Oh yeah, but Bitopia. Do you... we're looking for... What's the thing called?
The trellis.
The trellis. Do you know anything about this?
He kind of gives this response of fluttering in this amp. Like, okay, you see that village over there? That kind of serves as a fulcrum for the rest of this half of the plane. You're gonna want to go halfway up, get roughly up there, find it. It's invisible. I can't get you all up there. It's over there. I have little wings. I can't get all of you up. Just get up there and we're done. And he'll pop away. That is most of the challenge of him going like, it's in that general region, like, you know, the size of a parlor, of a living room. It's right up there. Just someone get up there and do it.
It was nice seeing you too, and I'm throwing a hand kiss just into empty air because he's gone already.
Do you know how many problems you're causing me? As
counting on you.
You guys are just wrecking through the lower planes.
You're the big guy. This direction. Let's go, everyone.
Right, so,
please go ahead.
I have, this might help somebody, that's good at spotting things. If you'd like to try my eyepiece, now that we know the general area, perhaps we could find it, and I'll offer up my Rod of Distance, which is a spyglass.
See that, and he said it was invisible, Norson. So that's we'll cast a narrative, see invisibility. On herself.
And with that, you get
Rod of Distance will double your distance.
You just gotta like look through the spyglass that Norin gave you, and like you can just see like this like star-like design of like there's multiple different orientations for the trellis due to Bitopia's situation, but like you can just see it up there, and then send a familiar up to take the cubic gate up there, and that narrative ability will pop us from 4 to 5 and finish off the challenge.
Oh, wonderful.
Great job.
With that, you guys...
Did you hear that, Northam? He praised you. He loves me.
That brings you guys back to Nilbora and the Dominus Porta, and you guys have one plane left before the Outlands, Carcerai. And with this, because there's no decision making, he simply informs you, well, you dealt with Acheron well, and I need you to deal with Carcerai at least as well, probably better. Carcerai is a prison. You've spoken about this already, and it is a prison to something that knows about the trellises. From what research I've done, this being is partially responsible for the falling of an angel, is responsible for an upturning of the different courts of the Fae, and is the reason that the gods made the trellises in the first place. And it has taken the Tartarian trellis in Carcerai and used it as a throne room, waiting through the ages to be able to use it to escape its prison.
Is it a titan?
It might as well be. The entity's name is kali-musa. Technically, at one point it was a fiend. I do not know what it is now, but it hails from a time when fiends were singular. There were not Baelor, there was a Baelor. There were not pit fiends, there was a pit fiend. Kali-musa is as ancient as the old gods. I told you not to give in to any demands of Mordekin. That is not the case here. Kali-musa has the trellis. You must deal with him, though I do not suggest combat. Best of luck. And if you do not succeed, I understand. As he forcibly just teleports you there immediately.
Oh my god. Nice. Oh, nice encouragement.
With that, as you go dumping through this portal of planes, you break through shells and shells and shells of planets. Carcerai, the prisons of Tartarus, there are 6 layers to the plane, but they are not stacked independently. But each layer is a string of planets. The second layer is a string of internal shells to those planets, in a 4th dimensional sense. It does take the ability to find the weave passages up through the layers, or plane shifting yourself to get from one level of a Tartarian planet to another. But somehow you can also go from the 5th layer of one planet to the 5th layer of another through those mystical passages. And you are slammed through to what is impossibly the last planet in the chain of the Tartarian planets. An infinite string, and you have been sent to the bottom layer of the final one, dividing by 0 to the trellis of Carceris, to a chamber of frost and flame, mixed into congealed black smoke. And you see what is supposed to be the trellis, having over time been carved into a throne. Sitting upon it is something that seems to have the arched horns of a Baelor, but the bull-like face becomes more feral and draconic. Gorilla-like arms overhang the sides of the trellis throne to razor-sharp hooked claws that just have carved little ruts into the ground next to it. It sits on its own legs, kind of hunched into this squatting position in the chair. And as you appear, kali-musa, having waited through eternities for someone to come for the trellis, simply gives this deep, throaty grumble, not even addressing you by speech, but acknowledging your final existence within its prison.
Oh, this is Agathis. Well, it's to be expected.
What was that, Celeste?
The layer of Agathis. I think Celeste will comprehend languages, just in case this ancient being has a language that we don't know. Lord kali-musa, we've come to bargain.
We've come to bargain. It just kind of gives this deep, kind of huffing chuff. I want out.
Mr. Porta said that, this is not out loud, but Mr. Porta said that we just give it what it wants, correct?
He said we can bargain with it.
You can,
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
we should bargain with it.
you can bargain with it, you can give it what it wants. If you are not trying to divert anything about what this entity does, you guys can just say yes. Based off how the cubic gates work, you walk up, you activate it. The reason why the combat challenge is you guys have to take care of all the enemies is they'll all get sucked with you. If you don't want to spend any points on this, you can just go and you will have your complete freedom. Walk up cubic gates and just permanently release him. If you're not going to try and wheel and deal, if you're not going to try to say, you cannot come to this plane, you can't do that. Like, if there's no wheeling and dealing, if you're just fully letting him out, you guys can just fully let him out.
Oh, I think we should try at least, guys.
Do you want to send him to the far plane as well and just put a huge mess out there for the ones to deal with?
Lord kali-musa, if we were to release you, there would be stipulations on this. Certain planes you wouldn't be able to visit, such as the material, and no limits, no entry for a lord such as yourself.
And with what divine right do you make this claim?
I'll step in and I'm gonna go big with this one. I believe you've already seen this in a dream you've had recently, because I cast Dream on him the night before.
Okay, we are bending reality with this dream. And typically, like, you have to know people exist to dream, but we are working against elder evils. And you yourself have made contact with one of the elder evils that all of these plans are against.
Yeah, I used Dream and used my connection through gresn'ilknus to let him realize that now that we're here, fulfilling something he's seen vision in his sleep.
There is a tinge of gresn'ilknus to this warping of reality. That is significant. You guys are about halfway done with this, a little over. He kind of gives this, it may be so, but I do not care for gresn'ilknus. It is not its reason for me to be here. There are others that deserve my ire. His eyes then look over to Jorg. But you know the one that imprisoned me here, the one that led to this. I should feast on your soul for that.
I sent my tier X spell, so just kind of like of my smartly dressed elementals to surround Lord kali-musa and get Jorg out of immediate danger.
So you pull him back out of immediate danger. You have these elementals that kind of surround, mixing in with the gresn'ilknus, elemental profane chaos kind of vibe that we have going. As kali-musa then gives this kind of, you have seen that which desires, and I desire it.
Oh, I know exactly what you speak of. If you'd like, we can send you to his realm, and you can have him to your heart's content. You want Marnouche, don't you?
A trellis for a trellis. He agrees. Once again, you guys are sending two very significant fiends in the multiverse. Whether this becomes Spelljammer, whether this becomes whatever ending for this age, I think I already know where the next age is gonna start coming from.
They're either gonna fight for forever or they're gonna team up against this guy.
He agrees, and as you bring the cubic gate forward to culminate this agreement, releasing him to go off to the far realm to deal with his own personal beef with that which desires and Marnouche. As we reach the end of the first phase of the Dominus Porta's agents, let's also look at the end of the first phase of the elemental trellises by continuing on to water. Returning with smoke behind you into Nelbora, you have a single portal remaining. One that does not now give you many choices, but simply having to complete the water elemental plane. Are there any notes you lot wish to make before entering that portal?
Thought we told you about mind speaking.
Hey, it was a good idea. It just blew up in our faces, that's all.
As always.
You all approach the final elemental portal, going through for one of the last times you feel that presence of Miskathema come over you. And that within that calm there is this notion that the calm will not last. It will not be difficult to find this trellis, as it is at the center of a massive whirlpool within this plane of endless seas and oceans. Though with that, it is a source of power, and the whirlpool draws all in the vicinity near. You will not have time to simply complete your ritual. You must first make the area safe, then you may do so. As you guys come through this portal, you'll be starting within the region of the map surrounding the trellis. As you guys get yourselves around this trellis, which is itself its own whirlpool portal, you lot find that there's this cracking of a thunderstorm underneath you, as you guys are within the skies far above the Everstorm Sea. This being one of the multiple portals that channels into a mixture that forms. You will not want to fall through that portal and get dumped through demi-planes of space where the Everstorm is conjured, but this is where you are, and as you come in, there are multiple entities that will quickly gain your attention. A young kraken, and then waves of contorted marrow, these monstrous merfolk. There are legions of warriors as well as a number of kraken priests. The first individual that gets to act is Valen. Valen, what would you like to do?
That is horrible for me. More of a reactor, so I will move just this one and wait here.
We'll go to the next initiative draw, and that is going to be Darren.
Orin, are you feeling like cutting down a lot of people or fighting the big one?
I can do either or. That's all I really got left anyway, but yeah.
Can you cover the small ones?
Yep, I was kind of thinking the ones where Valen's at, but...
Because I want to fight a Kraken. I'm running at first in the Kraken lane.
We will go on to our marrow. So this is not going to be the priests, but this is going to be the marrow soldiers, of which some of them are going to move 2 regions into the outer shell, and then the other 2 are going to move 2 regions into the stagnant lagoon, following the movement of Darren towards the Kraken. We're going to move on to Torin. Torin, despite wanting to take on many, you only have 3 within the outer shell, which you could move to this turn if you wished.
Yeah, therein lies a quandary. I got 1 shot at this pretty much. I'll go ahead and use my standard attack on one closest to Valen. Straight down the middle.
Our next initiative, which is going to be our priests. One of our priests is going to go ahead and move into the outer shell, and as it goes into this swirling water around this kind of orb around the water trellis, it is going to bring with it this frigid cold that just grows out into these great spears of water, and this is going to do a burst attack. And with this is going to do 1 damage to both Valen and Torrid. Our next Kraken priest in the Tumult Waters is going to move 2 regions, and it's going to go through the flowing current, get whisked along the flowing current, and pop out within the stagnant lagoon as well. And our final one is going to get to the outer outer shell as well. And that's going to be all of our Kraken Priest's turns, at which point we go to the Kraken. The Kraken, seeing Darren just swimming right at it, is going to have tentacles, maw, teeth, beak, just flurrying all around. And it's going to attack Darren for 4 damage.
This is fine.
As you are fighting this Kraken, and it has the advantage in the water. It's definitely trying to get the upper hand over you. With that is the Kraken's turn. Once again, it's Valen.
It's cool. I'm gonna actually just take a movement down here into the stagnant lagoon with Darren. I'm just gonna come over here and narratively, since Valen doesn't really do much attacking, I'm gonna come over here and do dissonant whispers. Make it run away, which will make Darren slap it down, because that's what a good war coach does.
We move on to Torin. Torin, you're currently in a region with 4 minions.
I'm actually going to try and pull them with me and come down here, join my buddies Valen and Daniel.
Going down with Valen and Darren, trying to get them to come with you. Anything else on your turn?
I'll go ahead and slap down this top guy with an action.
One of the Mara warriors also slain. We're gonna go to the Kraken. The Kraken, continuing, it got the upper hand on Darren. You two come down here, and then more tentacles reach out, grab you. It is going to do its group attack. So where its solo attack was just a straight 4 damage, it's gonna do its group attack. Its group attack is going to hit each of you and do as much damage as the number of Kraken priests. So as they channel power into the creature, each of you are going to be taking 2 points of damage. You guys are all in the same region, so anyone who happens to have defense allies abilities can target either of your allies.
I was going to use mine on Torin this time, and this is going to be the big spectral sheep that goes over top of him and makes him flippy.
I am gonna say you have a group heal, right?
I do, yeah. That's why I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for you guys to take a lot of damage.
Well, I'm already damaged.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll do Darren. Darren will be fluffy.
So Darren, you do not take damage as your holy aura then becomes a fluffy aura of sheep wool. We continue on to the Mara warriors, and the Mara warriors are going to all conglomerate into the stagnant lagoon, which at this point I should say is no longer stagnant. The amount of movement in here, that is all turned up into bile and nastiness. Each of them are going to make their own attacks against each of you. So there are 3 of them. There are 4 enemies. So each of you is going to be taking an attack for 1, and then Valen, you are doing the most flourishes of magic and things, so the additional attacker is going to go towards you. So that is 1 damage coming in at Darren, 1 coming in at Torin, 2 coming in at Valen, as you have all these harpoons and javelins and spears and nets of general chaos in the waters. We go on to Darren. Darren, it is finally your turn once again. You charged the Kraken, and a lot of crap went down as you've been wrestling with the tentacles and the mouth and the beak and all of that.
So do I tell it like a mild die or an extreme die?
I think this is a heavy die.
A heavy die? Alright, level 5 smite. I smite it with my main hand, I smite it with my offhand, and I bonus action smite again.
That is a kill. That is a kill. How would you like to do that?
Bang. Bang. Offhand. Bang. But all 3 of them like glowing, radiant sparks flying out. The problem solved, guys. That was Kraken.
Turns out when you took significant damage from the crushing tentacles, you took some damage from it bringing you to the serrated mouth and the beak, but that just gets you right to its center for the triple smite on the cephalopod body head combo, and that easily kills things that don't have thick hides.
Thank you for letting me have it, Torin. Thank you for the help, Valen. If you need me, I'll be dying to whatever the priests are gonna do, probably.
And with that, we do go to the priests. The first priest, this is interesting now. You know what? They're gonna go for it. First priest is going to use their water powers and their control of the currents to suck you guys into the outer shell. Second priest is gonna use the same ability to suck you guys in towards the water trellis. You guys are 1 priest turn away from being sucked through the water trellis, tumbling through the demi-planes of combining the elements of air and water to eventually end up in the Everstorm itself. But yeah, that's their turn. No damage done. They're going for the long-term one-shot to kill everything. We'll see if the play works out for them. I don't think it is. Oh, you're the heroes and you deserve moments of heroism. First in the initiative order is going to be Torin.
Alrighty, I am going to move over here. I guess I actually got to go into a zone. So move there, and I will pop this guy out.
Valen, you remained close to the top. Valen, what do you want to do?
I am going to step over here, and I'm just going to whack this guy. I'll use the ram ring, or the halfling torque on this fella here, and pop him out of there.
Blast him moving forward. The priests went next, so good job there. And the Kraken is dead, and we move on to the Marrow Warriors. And with that, they will split. They're all moving into the region. It's all the same region, but they will split 2 and 2. Some going after Torin, some going after Valen. Each of them stabbing out, grabbing, trying to net you and then shiv you and generally barbarically destroy you.
I'm pulling out the war coach's bullhorn, and I'm going to say, Torin, go get them before they hit us.
They're just a bunch of heads just popping like weeds.
Okay. And with that...
I see why you wanted to save that.
That's going to slay the remainder of the enemies in the area, opening up you guys the space and the time and the safety to destroy the water trellis.
I would like to RP smite the water trellis.
Have you seen the Blue Man Group? Have you seen them play drums on the drums with the water on them? Well, welcome to Darren's one-woman show. Destroying the portal below you, rocketing back up towards the portal above to dump back out into Nelbora. The portal actually stripping the water from you. If it's its choice, it is preventing any water free form to pass through. So you actually get back out into Nelbora dry. It is here that you once more meet, already waiting for you, as we saw that Miskathema was moving faster than you lot were. Miskathema waiting. I have already finished my planes that I was occupied with. But now, all the rest of the Dominus Porta's influence are meeting in the Outlands. Meeting in that plane that is both concordant neutrality and not a part of the plane structure. They're attempting to bring all of the planes crashing together. But there is something we can do to prevent them now that they do not have footing. I previously spoke of the Great World Serpent. There are myths, tales, entities. There are those of Isgard that know of Jorkmunda. There are others scattered of the great beast that encapsulates the world. This, though layered in many, many obfuscations, there is truth. I can take you to the astral, wherein the final thing holding the prime material in place through all of this is the great world dreadnought. Break it, sever it, and we will free the prime material. We will free it to drift, no longer bound by this great wheel of cosmology. The spectral amethyst dragon's wings wrap around each of you, forming this cocoon. And as it wraps, you grow closer and closer in something almost familiar to your demise. But as you warp and pop, you will find yourselves in a starry sea. And with water complete, the groundwork for the Dominus Porta and the Arbiters of Isolation have both come to a close. Let's now look at the mighty plans of the Dominus Porta and see how far they can get before the Arbiters of Isolation's interference fully takes place. So as you guys all come back to Nelbora, locking in, confirming with the Dominus Porta that your final cubic gates have been placed at the trellises, he gives us, good. We must act fast then. We're now heading to the Outlands. While I am trying to save as much of our reality as possible, the Outlands does not have a space in the New World. It acts as the confluence of all the other planes within the cosmos. There is no room for us. We will have to take it. We will be going to the Outlands. I will immediately find myself within the central spire. For those of you who have not been there is a mountain that sits at the center that is the pinnacle of neutrality. Magic does not work. I will begin to set up the ritual with all of the artifacts, bringing together all the cubic gates. while I am preparing the materials, you all must head to the top of the mountain. There floats a city of Sigil, the city of doors. It is the one place that not even I and my magic can puncture. Therein, there resides an individual that you will not speak of. The ruler is the Lady of Pain. And she is omnipotent within Sigil, and omnipotent at the center of the universe where even magic does not reside. She has within her purview a capability of demi-space, the ability to produce mazes of torture and deceit. However, what I need you to do is to go to the top of the mountain, speak with those that speak for her, convince her to help. She seeks nothing but her own, to have her space unmolested by gods. She is the ultimate authority. What I have not mentioned to you up until this point is that there are those working against us. While you have been going for the outer planes, I know they have been seeking to destroy the trellises of the inner. My plan was to keep those trellises as foundations for as long as possible. They are destroying them for us now, seeking to throw the prime material out and away. Barter that. Use that. The Lady of Pain wants nothing but to have her power and be isolated. Have her take Sigil in our stead, to be cast out from this new universe that we're creating. And the payment for that is to produce a demi-space, to take all of her mazes, sending them down, coring through the mountain, to create an area where we might be able to use magic outside of the neutrality of the concordance. And then we can break the center, we can scatter the outworlds, complete our goal. Does that make sense? As far as that plan can make sense.
Not damn bit.
So we go to Sigil, we convince the Lady of Pain to burrow a huge maze through the mountain so we can get out of the magic field.
More or less, yes. You will not be speaking with her directly, but those that speak for her. You must convince her that this is a means of getting herself isolated and giving her complete control without interference ever again. We are sacrificing the inhabitants of the city of Sigil forever to her control, to also forever no longer leave her, for it to be the cage that it is. They will be the sacrifice along with the Outlands to allow for us to complete our goal. The Dabu you speak with, convince it to tell her to create the demi-space through the mountain for us so we might shatter the Outlands.
I feel like we're gonna have to word it differently.
If the people who oppose us succeed, how is that going to interfere with her wishes?
If they succeed and we do not make this deal, we ourselves will be gone, cast out, and we will have wrecked the multiverse surrounding this concordant opposition, and the City of Doors will be doors no more.
So if we fail, the City of Doors is destroyed. If we succeed, the City of Doors is forevermore the City of No Doors, but also extant forevermore.
Yes.
Okay. Oh boy, this is going exactly how I thought it would.
Once you convince the Dabu of that, meet me inside the space. We will finish the ritual, and hopefully that will be the end of it. With that, the Dominus Porta is going to, for the moment, cast his last conjuration spell to send him to the center of the concordant opposition, and you all to the top of the pillar.
Did I get this correctly? This dude who is an incredible mage goes to a place where magic doesn't work.
That is how this plan has to operate. That is the gamble.
Okay. Let's see how this goes, guys.
He mentioned it earlier. When you're talking to people, do not mention the Lady of Pain. In any way, shape, or form.
Understood. I'm just not gonna talk to people.
Probably a good idea. With that, you guys are going to be dumped on top of a giant spike of a mountain, around which a mechanical donut spirals at the top. The City of Doors, Sigil, resides within that donut, the inside of the torus. And as you find yourself at this peak of peaks, floating down from the city to see who is here, is a Dabu. humanoid, no nose, gray skin, flat face. If you've seen the Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Dabus look a lot like Maw, the wizard telekinetic person that comes to speak for Thanos. Looks a lot like that. And as it drifts down, for those of you who know Dabus do not speak, but images form above their head to imply what they mean to say. And as it floats down to you, you see a dolphin appear over top its head, as if to ask you, what is your purpose?
Oh, no.
That is the only one. Everything else will just be talked through.
Does anybody have like minor illusion? You can throw some things up above your head.
You guys can speak.
Just talk to them.
Yeah, you guys can speak. They are incapable of speaking, but you guys can speak to them.
We're currently airborne, or are we on the spire?
You are currently on the spire.
Oh boy. I am... Oh, but we just established that we can talk. I'm not going to do earth molding magic to make a picture.
Smart.
How do you make a deal without talking about someone?
Refer to them as the management, maybe?
This is like Fight Club.
We can sit or talking to them, no?
They are awaiting to find out your purpose of being here.
We'll begin just explaining the framework of our idea without getting into like the nitty gritty, and we'll just start it off with a narrative point 1 in a praiseful way, because I'm not familiar with the Dabu and how they operate socially. So kind of starting off on that gentle foot and describing that we come with honest intentions and we will need great favor.
As you speak about that, time draws onward. Every moment you spend on this challenge is a moment that the Dominus Porta is waiting for you.
Well, in that case,
I've got more resources available if you want me to spend mine.
Sure, go ahead.
Helping Buck do what they were gonna do.
Oh, I don't think you want Buck to do what he wanted to do. I would have went up to him, took him by the collar, and told him, "We have no time. We're gonna ship this plane somewhere else, or whatever the old man wants to do. I don't care, and you're not gonna stop us." That's what I would have done.
Oh no.
Yeah. Are we currently in a non-magic area?
You guys are relatively in a non-magic area, but because you are so close to Sigil, there is some of that magic leaking out, so you can do some stuff.
Okay, I will go back to my very first idea and start playing Pictograph or Pictionary with the stone beneath my feet, and just drawing it up and making slowly building this very elaborate diorama of what we need.
You guys are trying to convince the management of Sigil, a place that wants to be left the crap alone, to get involved in greater cosmology. This is gonna be difficult.
I'll definitely make sure to include in that diorama the option where City of Doors goes bye-bye.
I think I'll have to do this. Okay, I'm gonna go up to him. Listen here, I know you don't want to get involved in this stuff, but if you get involved this once, after this is done, you're gonna be left alone basically forever. So, trust me, it's worth it.
As you are convincing the Dabu, who then just kind of as you're getting really up close, raises a hand up to the City of Doors, and giant metal prongs kind of break off, and they reach down this giant octopus monster, grab you, and push you away. As within the construct of the City of Doors, the Dabu have almost infinite transmutation capability, as he kind of pushes you away. Just kind of like that, okay, keep space.
Okay, sure.
The cards are on the table. It's time to make a decision. And the quicker you are, the quicker the better it is for us.
So as you okay, you have all the information, we have spoken with you, we've done the diagrams, we're making it known that this is, you do this and we're done. You're now putting it on the table, make the decision.
Whatever portal behind us is getting weaker, and George is going to put his hands out and just use his power to kind of boost it a little bit and keep it going while they're talking this out.
So despite the time it takes to talk it out, taking up all the time to get back down, you are magically holding the 2 portals open as they're beginning to crumble away for you guys. The moment you're done, you pop through your initial portal, pop back through the portal that the Dominus Porta went through to get down there, and you're instantly down in the basin. As you get there, there's this column of kind of labyrinthine gears and maze that kind of course right through this mountain. Down with the Dominus Porta. He has already done a ton of work. You guys have done a ton of work trying to finish this, but as he is now operating with this like ring of 16 grounding point spikes for those cubic gates to form these channels to rip the concordant plane of the Outlands apart, he needs a little bit of extra oomph to help tear the world apart.
What Buck will do is you all will see as his left eye moves out of sync with the other one. It twitches left to right for a moment before it realigns, and it will glow blue, the iris, and he's now able to see magic. And I think if this is at all applicable, he will just basically see the weave in front of him, and whatever everyone else will do, he will help to find like the specific weak spots where we can most effectively use our abilities to bring this down.
So as you like, okay, you go over here, you do this, like these are the areas that we need the extra strength, that way the entire Outlands fractures as opposed to just half of it. You guys have, a couple of the cubic gates that are a bit stronger, a couple that are a bit weaker.
So this is kind of getting away from the crossover Codex mechanics, but as casters, who's all proficient with conjuration? Obviously, we have a conjuration specialist. We have Atragor. Doran, you had mentioned things about passing through, etc. How much do you have to spare? So if we can just funnel enough conjuration magic as a group to help help the Dominus Porta, I think a group effort might be worth it.
Well, if we funnel it enough through one person, I can help protect them, defend them.
I can just pour, as I literally learned my magic from the Dominus Porta. I could just assist him in whatever ways I know how he works.
It's just let Celeste focus on this, and then you guys deal with the ramifications and deal with what comes next.
We might have to go that route. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so too.
Alright. Celeste, you gonna go help? I will funnel... I'll join in and I'll funnel my disintegration magic into the outer seams of their magic to help just get through.
And then, Celeste, are you gonna finish it out however long it takes?
If no one else fits abilities, yeah.
As you guys are just pouring magic into this situation, you watch even the mountain around you begin to crack and fracture, and it's not like crumbling away, but the cracks throughout the rest of this plane are very much falling and boiling and twisting. You guys get so close to finishing, so close to the end, and then reality stops breaking apart as there's a great primordial essence that has taken the plane, and its very form is preventing you guys from continuing on with this collapse. A great swirling chaos of fire and frost and wind and earth and smoke and ash and soot and grime and ooze, taking the opportunity of the fracturing of the planes, crawling up from the elemental chaos, gresn'ilknus. And as this great ritual is stopped from concluding by the presence of a greater entity, there is something else that opposes the Dominus Porta, and that is the attempted slaying of the great world dreadnought. Let's see how well that goes. As you find yourselves within this astral sea, the ethereal border is what is most akin akin to Miskethema's form. As she releases you, she looks out to where legions of warriors are attempting to cross the plains to aid the Dominus Porta. Miskethema looks at you. I must go. They cannot be allowed to assist in the Outlands. While I give you time, I beg you, descend deep into the astral and defeat the great world dreadnought, sever it and release the world. Do so before the Dominus Porta's plan finishes and before ruin will be wreaked upon the world. With that, Miskethema flies off to prevent the additional forces from joining in the Outlands, and you lot are set to defeat the world dreadnought. You lot will be beginning in the ethereal border. You will have to pass through the elemental border where, as the world is fracturing, you have these elemental weirds mixing chaos of the different types, magmas and storms and galvanic metals. Already wandering encounters through this astral sea. Throughout the upper and lower plane borders, we have Githyanki pirates and looters attempting to take advantage of this time of turmoil before eventually getting to the deep astral, the great world dreadnought. We do have the need from the ethereal border, you have to go to the elemental border, but from there you can split either upper or lower and then continue on to the deep astral from there, though you may find need to back up throughout this. We'll find out how it goes. But for now, the first person to go is going to be the dreadnought. It is just rotating around. For those of you who do not know what an astral dreadnought is, it is the combination of essentially the head of a beholder onto the arms of a giant demon crab that then extends out into a snake-like body that continues on into eternity. That is kind of the physical description. You have an image before you, but this is the kaiju of all kaiju, because it's within the astral, it never ends. It just continues on forever. And as the great cosmological wheel is being damaged, and there is nothing yet attracting its attention, the deep astral dreadnought of the world is simply going to grow in power as its anger grows at the destruction of what it is binding. From there, we're gonna go to the Githyanki looter pirates. Having nothing yet to do, they are going to continue to fly about and gain members. And so they're going to continue to call in the forces of this great endeavor. They're going to spawn another Sky Pirate Brigade as they are growing in their lootership. From there, we go to Valen. Valen, you always get to go first among your party.
You know what? That's fine. We're all grouped together. This is probably the only opportunity I'm really going to get to do it anyway, so I'm going to do my Power 4 group heal, because we need it. It is my Aura of Vitality, so yeah, it's fuzzy, bubbly, you know, and everybody feels like they're having a great time at a tavern, even though we're in the ethereal border.
We will go on to Darren.
Alright, so, way I see it, y'all ever watch Ender's Game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what the phrase was, but like, we're going for the big thing. It's not like a plan. If we just ignore everything else, like I'm sure Torin, you got some big solo attacks. You've got something in the tank for a big solo attack. Valen, do you have anything left?
I am tapped out.
Okay, keep the minions off us.
Yep, I'm gonna be whacking things.
That said, do we need to fight anything in the elemental order?
Not yet, just run.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hey guys!
I find
The
it...
enemy's gate is down. That's what it was.
The enemy's gate is down. I find it notable that Darren is choosing to go through the lower plane border as opposed to the upper plane border.
Well, she's used to fighting things.
We will go on to Torin.
And Torin will follow Darren's lead. And there I am.
We're going to go on to the elemental weirds, following the greatest sparks of life, the greatest notions of the living, like little magnet mines, The elemental weirds are just going to kind of, well, what? And just kind of like follow down. As they get here, they're going to hit you with waves of elemental energy, sparks. They're going to hit you with flares of fire and all of that wonderfulness. Both Darren and Torin, the first hit you take from these guys is going to be more stunning and choking than any actual damage. The next ability you guys use is going to have -1 power. Our third weird, because there isn't another one of you, is going to double up, and that's where you're going to get 1 point of damage, and that's going to go towards Torin. So Torin, you're going to take 1 point of damage as there's more lightning and more choke and more toxins and more EMP blasts and all of that stuff. That is the end of the weirds. And we go on to the shuffle of the initiative deck. As we start up on the next initiative, the weirds go first. So they have just gone last and they're coming in full force. You guys are each going to take another minus as they stack. You guys are currently at -2 for the next ability that you use. And this time, Darren, you're going to take the bonus damage. As they continue to just pile on and almost grow across you like elemental cocoons trying to drag you down and absorb you. We do go on to Darren.
Okay, so you say they're growing onto us, right?
Yes.
By that logic, if I hit them, will we lose the debuffs?
The very nature of you making an attack will reduce your debuff. You cannot undebuff Torin because it's also electricity in his system and things like that.
Get these debuffs off us. I'm gonna take these weirds out.
I will say you are currently at a -2. That brings your basic attack below 0.
That is fair. However, I am not smiting a minion. Will both debuffs go away at once?
Yes, both debuffs will go away at once.
Or the enemy's gate is down. But get closer to it so something hits you first. So I can shield you, get rid of the debuffs. No, that sounds like a bad plan. I'm just gonna hit, I guess. Miss, I guess.
Yeah, essentially you are fighting and you're trying to break through the layers of growing earth and metal, and you're trying to get control of the spazzing in your muscles and all of that. And as you attempt to make a basic attack, you are going to get rid of the debuffs as you fight through. With that, we'll move on to the pirates. Torin, the thing that you wanted so much earlier is coming to pass as all of the pirates are going to pile in. They're going to see the giant flaming axe, the enchanted clubs, the wonderful armor, the orichalcum eye, and they're going to see this as their opportunity to loot your corpses, even if they have to help make you corpses first. Each of them are going to go ahead and just do minion attacks, trying to down you guys. So 2 of them are going to attack Torin for 2 damage total, and then 2 of them are going to attack Darren for 2 damage total. Because they're shooting these plasma across you, using psionic abilities and using radiant abilities from their austere Githyanki nature. You do see some of them flashing silvered swords and the like. Their initial intention was we can cut silvery cords, but you don't have them because you're already spirits. We will move on to the Dreadnought, and the Dreadnought is going to continue to grow in power at an exponential rate. It just gained twice the amount of power that it did last turn.
Oh god.
Yeah, not going good here, guys.
It's okay. Galen's gonna come up and kill a weird, but we'll work that out.
Torin, it is your turn.
All right, I will take an attack at this guy closest to straight above me, which just gets rid of my debuffs.
As you continue to fight, getting control of your body once more as the elemental natures are building up and bringing you down.
I'll move over here to the upper border.
Okay.
So at least I'm away from any more of that for a moment, anyway.
Okay, kind of withdrawing to the side, allowing your companion to take all the attention to give yourself the opportunity to fully approach the enemy gate, as we've been speaking, though it is more of I guess it is a gate. The entire thing is a gate.
I didn't mean to hit you with that, but nice.
I mean, if you guys don't know, if you end up in the Astral Dreadnought's stomach, that is a demi-plane. He is a gate, and then him being the World Dreadnought is a gate. It's just, there's layers to this. Valen, it's your turn.
I am going to pop over down here with Torin and look across the border and just be like, that's a lot going on over there.
Darren gives you a thumbs up.
Okay. With that, we're back to shuffling the initiative deck. We are like so far from completing this combat, but so close with how this system works.
If Torin optionally and I definitely get in there before the weirds, we could probably like double KO the Dreadnought maybe, or at least get it low.
With that, the beginning of this initiative is gonna be the Dreadnought. So it's going to continue to grow as now you guys witnessed cracks through the astral sea spreading throughout as the Dominus Porta's plan is growing and beginning to take hold. And that is the Dreadnought's turn. We go to Valen.
I'm gonna pop over here, and I'm gonna help Darren here add dissonant whispers to these weirds, so that she can pop them as they run away.
We are gonna go on to the weirds. As they can.
The worst possible outcome.
Yes, it is. As they're going to jolt, and that is going to. There's only 2 weirds and 2 of you, so each of you are going to take the 1 power debuff. I will say that with that though, Darren, you are a hero, are you not?
And I can kill a minion.
You can kill a minion, yes. So as you guys are now being shocked once more, switching out who's there, we do go on to Darren.
Wait, question. Can I defend Valen?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, I'm defending Valen. I want him to not be debuffed, so
Okay.
he can kill the other minion.
Okay.
If you can kill the other weird, Torin can go straight to the Dreadnought and start smiting. Well, cleaving. Flame smiting, you know?
Okay.
Pyroing.
Well, from there, Darren, not only have you defended, you have also defeated one of the weirds previous, or right here. So we have 2 weirds left, and we go on to Torin.
Alright, I think we know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'll go ahead and use my, Rising Strike.
You barely get into its actual danger level as you just come in this massive swing and you just knock this thing's anger and it's like it's concerned with the cosmos around it, and you bring its focus back to the here and now.
Well, it wasn't as much damage as I would have hoped for, but at least it got his attention off of getting bigger and uglier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got through his overheal and you got it aggro. Just don't die to the next hit.
Speaking of don't die to the next hit, we're gonna go to the pirates. And the pirates are going to go ahead and, yeah, like, they don't care who's in the lower border, and they're not dumb enough to go to the deep astral. So they're going to continue to, like, okay, we still have Darren. We switched out this dragonborn with this halfling, but, you know, he's got a really nice war horn and staff and all that. Nice torque, nice jewelry. So they're going to continue on with their attacks on you two, and none of those weird debuff things. It's just 2 damage each. Okay, and that's the end of that initiative. So at the top of this initiative, we have Valen.
I will, I guess I'm gonna pop this other weird. I'm gonna whisper at it, and Darren's gonna pop it.
Okay. And with that, defeating the weird, following Darren's plan for figuring out how to get out of this growing electrical situation.
I believe I'm gonna sit here and help absorb damage, so.
Okay. Focusing on all these minions. We'll move on to Darren.
Pop a weird. Valen. Will you be okay?
I got him.
Enemy skates it down. Don't be afraid to just run without us.
The Weird's turn was next, so they're gone. And we move on to Torin.
And I'm out of special skills, so it just be a regular attack.
You got its attention, and now you're like working on it, trying to like now defeat it, kill it, chop it in half, however you have to do to defeat this eternal, infinite creature. We go on to the pirates. Like I said earlier, the pirates are not stupid enough to go to that great beast. They're all going to attack Valen. Valen, that's 4 incoming damage. Space pirates doing space pirate things. I actually want to throw this back to you. I've given the description a couple times of these attacks. I want to know how you're weathering it.
Honestly, Valen is just like doing the best he can to hold his shield up and getting his little old legs to try to like outmaneuver these guys. I'm running around. I'm trying to run and hold my shield above my head.
As you drift through the astral, just legs pumping despite not doing anything.
Yep.
With that, we're going to move on to the Dreadnought's turn, the first turn that the Dreadnought has had, and it is going to lash out with all its anger, all its range, these massive pincers, but also this temporal and space magic that is innate to its capability. With 2 people in its space, it's going to start off attacking Torin with claws. Torin, that's going to be for 5 damage.
Ouch.
While both Torin and Darren is, this is a lot happening all together, trying to attack, break down, attack, defeat this entity, defeat this creature, Darren is going to disappear from space. Darren is just going to wink out of existence, and temporarily, Darren, you're going to find yourself within the locked dungeon of the demi-space within this entity. As you then, through your charisma, through your force of personality, you force yourself back out. You begin fighting with Torin again to defeat this creature, and you wink out of space again as you're in, out, in, out, in, out. This is just going to do, as you are fighting a being with the control of space and time before it, that is slowing you guys down trying to defeat it. So we went from it growing and growing and growing with no attention to so much attention and this thing just physically crushing Torin, but also warping reality around itself. That is the end of that initiative. Darren, you get to go first.
So, while the plan essentially hasn't changed, there's been a slight wording change. Darren flips over and pushes the clubs in an X. The enemy's gate is up. I'm smiting the shit out of this thing.
This is significant. This is after Torin got its attention back on the here and now, and then you have dealt with the crushing claws, the warping of space-time all around. You take the opportunity when you're right there in front of it, you gouge this thing's central eye out. The central eye that acts as an anti-magic cone, as this thing is now reeling in its form.
Surely not all Orgus Yankee pirates would attack me in the upper border. And if I go on the upper border, I don't think the Dreadnought will attack me. So I can come in and hit it again.
Okay, gonna retreat?
No, but I'm gonna encourage Torin to.
Actually, that was my plan before you even started saying any of that.
I don't know if it'll work. Good luck. I'm gonna stand my ground and try and take aggro. I just hit the dude real hard.
Torin is next.
Good, I will take my basic attack at him, and I'm going to run like hell to the upper border.
Okay, as you carve into it, bringing this thing low, bringing it deep, pulling yourself back up into the upper planes border of the astral, attempting to get some space. Things look dire, but there's an end in sight. Unfortunately, the Dreadnought goes next. And with it, Darren standing her ground, the claws fully come for her. And as they get a grip on her and begin to squeeze, as you witness Darren drop unconscious, the world affected by a shock wave. You guys get hit as the planes are beginning to fracture, and time is very limited. Gresn'ilknus,
Those of you keeping score,
danger
that's my
levels.
patron.
Oh,
so
wait,
there's that.
As you guys are slowly breaking the reality around you, crawling from the elemental chaos, having previously not managed to get into the prime material, now getting in through this area, which is seeded to be where the prime material will be, is the great profaned elemental chaos. You guys have to defeat gresn'ilknus, driving him away before he can overtake the ritual and be the center of all things.
This just went from we might go away or we might all become one, and rapidly move to we might just destroy all of it.
You guys are down in the mountain pit. The only way to get out of the mountain pit with the ritual is to go up to the mountain region. From there, any connecting region is a connecting region. The lava is where land is breaking apart and boiling. We have a volcano from the primal chaos. We have a whirlpool of a lake that is siphoning away as the world breaks. We have the ocean underneath, and then we have these other areas of elemental air, elemental earth, pure chaos, pure fiendish hell. As the concordance outlands are being broken apart, and they're being temporarily held together by the presence of gresn'ilknus. As we enter this combat, he does have multiple initiatives in the deck. For every person that was removed, he has their initiative. We'll be starting with Millie. Millie, what would you like to do?
Well, I'm gonna do the thing I did last time and just take the first move into a space, but this time it's gonna be into a space we all have to go to, so it should be safer. So there's that. The 4 spaces around me, the 2 on the right, is one of those representative slightly more air?
The one to the top breaks apart into just a bunch of different floating islands. That is a crevice.
And that is just barrens.
That is barrens. That is where there were mountains, and the elemental forces of air have begun to blow straight through them.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move. Just use my action to move. Actually, can I take that back?
Go ahead.
Nope, never mind. We'll just keep going. Right there. I will use my action to do a move there, and that'll be it.
We go on to gresn'ilknus, who is going to use its action to move and claim more territory. So, the spaces that have no health bar are also gresn'ilknus, as he is claiming zones of the world, moving to claim as much as he can before he's destroyed. We go on to Norin.
I will move to the spire, and I'll encourage everyone, come with me. It's safer if we stay together. And I will defend them when the time comes that we need defending, yeah.
Okay. With that,
Cool.
we pull another gresn'ilknus, and he is going to continue to claim territory as he is just roiling across the land. That was the wrong one. Roiling across the land, boiling through the gears of the planes of law, moving on to gathering up the sea waters and kind of taking that in to continue his tirade. We continue on to Buck.
Well, which one of these guys is the real one? It's all of them, right?
All of them, yeah. There's just a single health bar, so I don't have to hit all of them, but any square he's in, you can target.
Then I'll go up there. But if we are in a certain region and this guy comes along, it's still lost. It's not that we can, by being there beforehand, would be able to stop it somehow. No,
You can try and stop him. You can totally go someplace and try and prevent him from moving forward. That is something you can do.
Preventing him from going somewhere would use an ability, right?
No, it's you being there and he has to deal with you before he can spread further.
Well, alright. Then I guess... No, I can't. I'm gonna die immediately. I'm gonna stay here.
Okay.
Next person.
That is another gresn'ilknus pull. So he will continue on and continue to spread.
Definitely lost.
With that, we go on to Celeste.
Over.
I will move and I will go to him.
Okay, so that is going to be 3 regions.
Oh, I thought you said it was all connected.
So
In that case, I'll go
any
here
facing
then.
regions are connected. Okay.
I misunderstood as well because you said you first have to go to the spire and then you can go to anywhere else. That's why I thought, okay, we can go anywhere.
My
what I thought.
apologies. Yeah, spire, and then everything else connects to the spire, but you have to get out of the dungeon as opposed to, yeah.
Okay, well in that case, if you will still allow me, I would also have moved to here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I was under the assumption that I could, if I wanted to move, go anywhere.
Gotcha.
But now it's important to make ground.
Now it's important to make ground. Yes. Okay. So Celeste, you have moved twice, and then we move on to, once again, a gresn'ilknus pull, and he will continue on spiraling through. And we finally get to Jorg.
Oh man, yeah, I'm going to take a step out here, and then I'm gonna try to cut this guy off or face him. This can't be allowed to go on any further, so I'm gonna go over here. He should have to move into this eastern zone to get around, I'm sure, or
Okay.
to the north. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, with that we go on to Sigismund.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Up into here and then down into here.
We are reshuffling, and 1 gresn'ilknus tile is removed. So, next round he will have 1 less action as he has continued to spread. Let's go on to Norin.
Okay, I will move out to here, and then I will stand right here, and I'll stand right up on the front edge, because when Norin was in his heyday, he stood up front wearing his mithril shirt with pride, standing on the front line, taking damage, pretending to take damage. And that is his double move that will bring him to that point.
Celeste.
I will be a body shield.
Okay. You move in and what?
I will use my last ability to just do 1 damage of elementals.
And the elementals do very little as you summon in this conjuring burst, almost unperceivable within him.
Yeah, that's basically all I can do with this combat, just die.
Okay.
That'll be it.
With that, we're going to go to a gresn'ilknus turn. You are there opposing him, so he cannot continue. And he is going to attack you with a molten fist. This is going to be an attack for 3 damage. And from there, we go on to melee.
Alright, no hold action and no easy access to target. Going to move and move again, just to kind of front up the line with Celeste.
From melee, we are going to go to Buck.
Buck will now, I will use my last ability. I will move in with both of them here, and Buck will jump onto these aisles. You see him dashing, jumping, using everything in the environment to, in the end, sling on top of him. And he, as he's in the air above him, he takes his bow, he loads an arrow, he draws, and you all are blinded for a second as what are they called, Josh? The bolts?
The golem lug nuts.
The lug nuts. His bow has multiple lug nuts on them, and they all start connecting through little lightning arcs that connect the different lug nuts. As the lightning courses partly through Buck's body into the arrow, and he lets go a shot, and as it impacts him, compared to his body size, it's probably nothing, but it is a gigantic explosion of lightning. Yeah, exactly.
As that lightning courses through, you watch it course through the waterways and the salt minerals all the way around to the backside of this map, just looping through. That is a massive attack as you are throwing yourself fearlessly into this thing, getting the proper position and blasting with this special ability into him.
Heck yeah. Oh, wow. Let's go, guys.
Dude, good job.
Okay. Anything else, Buck?
No, that's all I can do.
Okay. Well, this is going to be really sad because as Norin, you're like just out of reach to protect your companions. This thing roils and twists and like forms this pocket, dropping Buck down near both Celeste and Millie before body slamming down like a tidal wave. Once again, I'm going to attack for 3 damage on all of you.
All right.
I'm dead.
Buck getting crushed underneath.
I'm doing the shot, and then I already see like the land mass is collapsing around me, and I'm looking to Celeste and Millie, and I'm just nodding to them because we're out of shouting range. See me just nodding to you, and everything collapses around me.
And with that, we do go to Jorg. Jorg, similar position to Millie, you guys pulled back, and all of a sudden, things are very far away as the progress has stopped.
Okay, I'm going to move in and try to fight this thing off. That's going to be the end of my turn. That's 2 spaces.
Okay, rushing in to the chaos. Sigismund.
I'm just gonna move to there, just the one space.
Okay, playing the tactics of it, and it's very good as Jorg goes rushing in. He goes rushing into a swell in the water, a depression, as this thing continues to roil and turn. As we have our final draw of gresn'ilknus, he will be doing another 3 damage to everybody in that area.
Down.
Celeste goes down. We get to the end of the initiative. One of gresn'ilknus's cards is removed. Millie, you're up.
I have 2 downed characters in my region.
Yes.
And I think I remember that... Oh, I don't remember who's got more on reserve. This is the first time we've encountered a down player in these games. I'm gonna have to go with Celeste, I think.
Please
I'm going
don't.
to reach over. Please don't.
Literally, there's nothing I can do in this combat anymore. Except be like a
Me
shield.
neither. But save her.
No, but you can still attack.
It's true.
Yeah,
I literally there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, damage.
Oh shit. As Buck's body, limp in form, kind of floats down. Well, he's crushed. So I'll float towards him. I will put my hand out and, using a profaned form of life transference, because I have no life, I will still give him health, and I will heal Buck for 2 hit points.
Oh wow!
And then I'm going to move because I can't take another hit like that.
That is a very good option, yes. And choosing Buck was really good because Buck, you're next in the initiative, which means you get to go.
I will do a regular attack. As I stand up, I will grab. Wait, who picked me up? Norin?
Millie.
No, Millie. Yeah, I'll grab Millie's arm. Get pulled up.
Millie was just sending you undeath energy and then
Oh,
ran
you
away.
didn't even have to touch me. Okay, all right. Okay. Then I'm just being fueled with the energy. I wake up. I immediately know what to do. I stand up, knock another arrow, try to hit some weak spot. I don't know, between the chinks of huge rock. I don't know. And I'll do 1 damage, and I think I'll move to Sigismund at the end of this turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit that life force within. With that, we'll move on to Norin.
Alright. I will step in and attempt to stand with an ally. And I will reach out to touch gresn'ilknus, very much in the same vein as previously, but just short of touching him, bolts of and arcs of lightning will blast up through his body as he casts lightning bolt for a mere 1 point of damage.
Damage is needed.
Damage is damage. So
yeah,
and I'm here for the defense ally. So
which is good because we go on to aggression Ilknus poll, and he is down to 2 initiatives right now. So this is a attack for 2 damage, slamming on both Jorg and Norin. But Norin moved in specifically because of that.
how does 2 damage feel?
Better than 4 of mine.
Okay, but you're still up?
Yeah, I'm up. I got
All
it.
right,
I'm
then
bloodied.
I take the 2, and I'm down to 3.
Okay, both of you take this as it continues to roil and reel, as Norin has this stored energy ready to go. Let's go ahead and go on to Sigismund.
Okay, I will move in, and as I move in, I will throw my tendril to buck and slam my sword into the ground, start sort of taking off parts of my armor, and I will transform into a werewolf. And my armor's now specially made, so when I'm transformed into a werewolf, like the breastplate stays and the pauldrons stay, and I'll use the floating islands to jump about, try to get on top of him, and I'll use my level 5 solo attack.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know you had that.
And as he is jumping back and forth, the power of lineages past, the power of Briar looking over him, giving this divineness, this shamanistic protection of the world itself, bouncing, hitting, bouncing, back, beginning to drive this section, this leading ahead of gresn'ilknus breaks off from the corrupted trail behind him, and then begins to fall from the islands, begins to descend, crumbling back to the elemental chaos beneath. That is what we were saving that solo attack for. And as he falls away, there's this momentary, brief relief before you realize that things are really bad, because the rest of the world begins to just fall apart around you. That, these islands become everything. Lava melts through land itself, pitting holes, water is acid. The earth forms these giant ravines that then shear like scissors, chopping up the land around it. As the plane, without gresn'ilknus, allows for that ceremony you guys completed to finish crumbling away for these air elementals, these assistants in times of dire need that Celeste has summoned in the past to aid in this endeavor, whisks you all, picking her up, whisking you up to the sky as the sky collapses around you, bringing this world to bear as the world is changing. As the heroes of the Dominus Porta ascend into the sky, this is all on the expectation that the great world dreadnought remains intact to hold this all together for the final transition. But for that, we must look back to the agents of the Arbiters of Isolation to see if the final blow can be struck. Returning to the astral, Torin having retreated for the moment to seize the proper opportunity, Valen still dealing with the waves of pirates all about, and the fractured form of the spiritual Darren being brought under this world dreadnought. We remain in a trepidatious state, as Valen, you will continue to be harried by pirates. However, the gamble of the upper border not being a danger, a little bit false, as we're going to have 2 Githyanki pirates break off for Torin, the other 2 at Valen. And as they proceed to harry, flying by, whisking shots of arrows clippings of silver swords trying to bring you lot under. That is 2 damage to Torin and 2 damage to Valen.
I'm down.
I've got 1 left, but there's nothing I can do.
Valen, it is your turn.
Well, I died with you guys once. Not this time. I'm retreating.
And witnessing the Githyanki pirates bringing Torin down for that treasure that is therein. Witnessing the world dreadnought bringing low the hero that sought to oppose it single-handedly. Valen, storyteller of the afterlife, you witness this in your retreat. And as the world dreadnought refocuses itself, no longer harried by Darren nor Torin, barely holding itself together, another shockwave erupts outward from the planes themselves, as that ritual that the Dominus Porta was attempting to finish hits its note. And as the world peels, the very space that you are in begins to collapse in on itself. The ethereal border, elemental border, upper and lower planar borders themselves warping and twisting and pulling you all astray from each other. And with the flight of Valen and the survival of the world dreadnought, the transition does come to bear. And while it is rough without the grounding of the elemental planes, while things do not follow the courses that had been laid out for them, suns forming through portions of worlds, incinerating the inhabitants, the chaos twisting through and decimating, many lives are lost, but it is held together. And as the prime material takes the place of the concordant outlands, the planes themselves, under their gravity, twist into planets. As those layers of the transient planes encapsulate the different worlds coming to creation, the world is all a starry night, but no longer points of radiance, but suns and moons, worlds of fire and flame, of frost, of air, of chaos, of solidity, some of them earthen, others completely mechanized, some turning under their own chaos to be worlds that do not have a set surface, but a revolutionary and changing form. This is a new age for those that survive to see it.